All right, I'd like to call the Parks and Rec Commission meeting to order for Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. And first order of business, it's a request by the Littleton Historical Commission to use Fay Park on July 4th for a town picnic from 9 to 3 and waive the fee. You're Andrew?
I am.
All right, Andrew.
So, sorry, I think this might be the first time that you've come to us for this. So just give us a rundown of what the event's going to be, what you're looking at for attendance, if you're going to be setting up like, I don't know, bounce houses or tents and things like that.
Right.
Great.
Now, some of that may be in flux depending upon funding.
Okay.
The Rotary has funded us, and we're also looking for other funding, which may free up some of the Rotary funds.
Okay.
That to be determined in the future. So, it's going to be just a traditional town picnic, fairly laid back. It'll be, focused on the gazebo at the park. We've got, opening ceremony, which includes ringing the church bells. And then there'll be short speeches from the gazebo. We hope to have children's games, but again, very low-key children's games, relays and sack races, that type of thing. All very traditional. And then we've got jazz ensemble playing at the gazebo, and that will be the majority of the time we're there. If we do end up with funds being freed, there's a possibility we may ask to put up a bouncy house, depending on what we can afford.
Yeah.
There's a chance we may involve the fire department to run a sprinkler. That's something that happened years ago, and if it's punishingly hot, it actually makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But that's dependent upon their hours and whether they can get volunteers and all of that. Trying to think if there's anything else to bring up.
Do you have an idea of how many people you might be expecting?
Yes.
That's a tough
And
one.
no, I mean, that's very hard. One of the problems is that the 4th of July is a part of a weekend. And in years past, that has meant that the attendance was low.
Okay.
But low meaning 100 to 150.
Okay.
With this being a special event, and hopefully we'll be able to get publicity out, we are aiming at around 200, but that may be maybe not reality.
Okay.
I don't imagine we would have more than that.
Yeah. Because one of the things to just think about, we have one porta potty that will be there on site. But for an event like this, we would suggest you guys bringing in more for the day.
Now, is that something that we would handle, or that we would go through you to handle?
We can probably help you set up to do it, but you guys would have to pay for the extra porta
Right, and
potties.
again, the funding that should.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's something we can just like take care of when we get a bit
Sure.
closer.
Can you give me an idea what the rough
cost.
cost would be? I mean, last time I did this was 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure the prices got up.
I want to say we haven't seen, because we only go out to bid for porta potties like once a year, and that's usually in March.
Mhm.
I believe that for a regular porta potty, I want to say it was like $125 for, it's a month, but I think they charge the same thing for a day, which is kind of a bummer.
Right.
And I'm not remembering the handicap one on the top of my head, but it'll be a little bit more expensive than that.
And how many porta potties would you recommend?
I would say probably like one for every 50 people, depending on how people are coming and going.
Right.
Yeah,
So
no
approximately
pun
4.
intended, sorry.
and there is one available, so.
Yeah, and there will already be one there on site at that time. Yep, absolutely.
Great.
Are you grilling up burgers, dogs, or
No.
it's just,
People are bringing their own lunch. We may provide, like water or snacks, but nothing, no prepared.
So would trash barrels be needed if people are bringing food in their own food and
Yeah.
snacks?
So that's something else we can figure out how we would handle trash, because there's no trash cans in Bay Park. It's pack it in, pack it out.
Right.
Yeah, so we can talk about ways, you can do that.
And people can be told.
Mhm. Yep.
The Historical Society, just to confuse things, because this is of course through the Historical Commission. Are also planning an event, but not at Fay Park, but just so you're aware. They're planning to have a morning program at the society.
Okay,
And then we sort of take over at 11:30 at Fay Park.
okay, so it's a combined effort,
No.
no, okay,
The fact that it's happening on the same day, I just thought we should be aware,
okay.
and the same vicinity.
Yeah, it's gonna be at the historical building, okay.
So another question might be if police detail is needed, if people are crossing the
Yep.
streets.
So what will end up happening is, the application that you put in, once the park commission has, says that it's okay. We would check with fire, highway, and with the police to see if a detail is needed. And I would suggest a detail for an event like this, so when we do like Thursday there, we definitely have details to help people cross the road, especially if you've had so many issues with crosswalks lately, so. I
Right.
definitely would suggest that. But we could check with police and fire, and then highway would, look at barricades and things like that to help out with those things. So,
And is a police detail something that we'd be responsible?
yeah.
And do you have any idea what that would be?
That I wanna say is somewhere around like. Per person, I think it's $400.
Chink the change.
It is, and our events we're usually doing like 4 hours, so it might be more if you guys are a longer.
Yeah,
Then,
the time we're expecting people arriving would be like, 11 and leaving 2.
yeah,
So we'd be there earlier, so. that we
Right.
can set up.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the details past that time.
okay, yep, okay.
does anyone want to make a motion?
Make a motion to grant the rental and waive the fee, please.
I'll second.
All right, 8 seconds. We'll do a roll call vote because Saul's on virtual.
Yep.
Saul,
Yes.
Norm,
Yes,
Kate,
Yes.
and Pete is a yes.
All
All right.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I'll certainly be in touch with you, with more of the details. It's
Yeah.
Oh,
That'd be perfect,
great.
awesome, thank you.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you. Have a good night. All right, we'll do commissioner updates now. Kate, any updates?
One update is that Sean from the school committee reached out about meeting,
Okay,
about our understanding between our two groups. And I just saw him the other day and it reminded me, because he sent it right around Thanksgiving.
to me,
He sent it to me.
oh, okay. I was like, I don't
He also
remember
sent
seeing
it
anything.
in a different email, so,
Okay.
but I did see it. So he wants to know if we would like to meet, because we've been talking about having our MOU or
Yep.
MOA or whatever those letters are. And I think it would be a good thing. And I don't know who all should be at that meeting.
Okay. I think it is a very good idea, especially, Kelly Clenchey, announced his retirement. So I think that that would be,
Good timing.
very, yeah, trying to be proactive of us to make sure that, you know, we have everything set. So, I mean, as far as like who would go, I mean, Saul, that's kind of up to you. If we have 3 people, then we would have to post. And it would be, a public meeting. So, yeah. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think if it's committee to committee, then probably, yeah, myself and Kate, or if somebody else wants to do it, that's fine also. With a couple members of the school committee, I think the other side would be just having, yeah, and then having you and somebody from the school department there as well.
Yeah. Okay,
I agree. I think like an initial meeting, with, Kate, because of your connections, and Saul, because of your chairmanship. That'd be good.
yeah.
So in terms of moving that forward, would it be you, Alicia, that I would chat with? I mean, if it's just us, I don't have to worry about open meeting law if I send us all an email, right?
Right.
Saul, you, Sean.
Yep.
And then whoever else he recommends.
Yeah,
Okay,
as long as it's, yeah, if it's over, if you're at a quorum or over, then it's a public hearing and you have to follow open meeting laws. If it's just like 2 people that are just having a meeting, from the boards, you can do that.
and you're not included. You don't kick us over the quorum.
No, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
If you guys want to run these without me, you can.
no, but I'm just making sure, like, you're not like part of the count.
No,
So,
I am
okay.
not part of the count, yeah.
Okay, great. And then, so that was one thing. And then Rob had also spoken with me somewhat recently about how the Shaker Lane building is discussing what's going to be actually at the school.
Awesome,
And
yeah.
so we need to make sure that we're vocal about what we want.
Okay,
And
was-
also for ball fields,
yeah,
what you
One
want.
of my. Thanks for bringing on.
I don't know when they are meeting next.
someone had said that the architect was gonna reach out, but they never have,
Okay,
so.
should be proactive. on that.
Yeah, I can do that, I'll find out who that person is.
Because we might as well be talking to you about our hopes and wishes for Camp T
Yeah,
as well as whatever else, I don't know. With their drawings, I think there's gonna be space that's open after hours that will be accessible. I don't remember from the final drawings if there would be
Okay.
like a gym or, even
Yeah.
if there's things that we could take advantage of for programming.
right. Yeah, because we have used the gym in Shaker Lane before. We used to run a lot of after-school programs there, but then, we had Tigers Den in there, now they're not in there, so we're back to running programs again, so. Yeah, okay.
So-
And they are in the process of talking about it, they haven't like finalized.
I
it
went
yet?
and I was looking at my notes and my notes said they were talking about it in December, so we're
Okay.
here. And I
Yeah.
believe Rob had said last time we spoke that it's also, now is the time
Okay.
to make our voices be heard and make sure we're not forgotten. Since we all supported this with the need of knowing that the school needs to support the community and we're here for community programming and education, so.
Right.
I think those are my big updates about school stuff.
Okay, I'll reach out tomorrow.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Norm?
So, Dave McManus from Youth Baseball has spoke to Tim, I know, and he's spoke to me as well. We're gonna need to replace those before the final version of the school is done. In the meantime, we're gonna have to come up with a replacement for the fields that are gonna be taken over during construction. So probably the spring of 27. Starting in the spring of 27. So there's 3 fields there now that we'll need to replace or
We need to get clarification because 2, I know definitely, but there's some, it's up in the air about that, the 3rd one.
Yep.
So it would be nice to get some clarification on it.
use during construction, like when they start, like,
Right, will it still be there? Are they gonna cut into some of it?
Yep.
Like, will that become parking? There's
we're
just,
gonna be able to, so,
yeah.
I
so
don't
there's a
know
lot.
how we tackle that. Because there are the fields at the high school.
Yep.
But they'll need to be, it's quite a bit of work that
Yeah.
needs to be done to them.
Yep.
And then what's that mean for the soccer program if we start having baseball games on those fields while soccer is trying to have soccer games, we're hitting into
Yep.
that outfield.
Yep.
So,
Dangerous. That is usually in the past has been a no-go unless there's some other way that.
now these would be little kids, so it's not the high school kids.
Yeah.
And they don't go that far down there, but
I'm sure there could potentially be some sort of solution to figure out.
Yeah.
You know, like netting or fencing, things like that.
Yeah.
Um,
where the funding for that comes from.
that's a good question. Yep. All right,
That's it's probably a big one, and spring 27 is gonna be,
right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, we're talking about fiscal year 27 right now, so for budgeting. Yeah.
Is there ever a history of going to another town to use their fields or rent out their fields or?
so we,
Send it out.
so like this fall, we used Brom Fields for the Babe Ruth program, we used their fields. So there is a history of it.
Yeah,
In the spring, fields are usually at a premium, so spring is gonna be the tough one. But yes, that would be one thing we'd have to look at is where we could, if we were short field, where we could rent them or what.
I see a lot at Narra Park. I see a lot of cricket, but I don't see a lot of baseball at one of their fields.
So there, yeah, Acton doesn't have baseball fields at Nara.
It's like one though, or is that a
So
softball?
not that the youth program has ever played on that I've
Oh.
been, so there's one right at the intersection of 27 and what there's.
Oh, yeah, there's those,
There.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but there's one that's kind of, they have their little Fenway, but then there's
Oh.
another one that's like set up
Okay.
along the walking path.
Okay,
That's where they play the
Yeah.
cricket.
oh, okay. So yeah, we'll have to come up with something, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Baseball's gonna be baseball and softball and gonna be our luck.
Well, hopefully not. Sure, we will come up with a solution that will work.
Yep.
So,
So, and then also what is gonna be the long-term solution at Shaker Lane or wherever to replace those 3 fields or whatever version of once the construction is done and the
yeah.
space is available for new fields.
So I think, separate of having like a meeting with you and Saul for MOA, it might be good for you and I and probably Tim to have a conversation with the architect about that. So I'll reach out tomorrow, and mention, you know, our commissioner and I'll
Yep.
even throw Dave's name out there too, because I think that would be good for him to be involved.
Yep.
And see if I can get a meeting and see what happens.
Yep.
Yep, I can do that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Norm. I have no updates. Saul?
There are a couple things. I'm about 5 minutes away, so let me save mine until I'm actually in the room.
Okay.
We'll table yours for now.
Can I just chime in again? I forgot in terms of CPC. They are looking at who's going to be moving forward with funding requests. So I don't know if we have anything we're hoping to put into.
So on the agenda, we're talking about capital, which capital usually ends up with CPC. So we're talking about those projects tonight
Okay.
and we'll talk about it. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I think some of these things could definitely be pushed off till later on, especially. Yeah, so it's just something that we can discuss and figure out what makes the most sense for the town.
Okay.
Because I think the things that are on there are not dire. But maybe fields will be, right? Maybe that's something that has to come up in fall of 27 maybe, or 26, sorry. Yeah. So we'll have to see.
They're starting to try to figure out what type of requests they're gonna get, and what type of money.
Yeah.
They're gonna be asked about, so we'll have to prioritize,
Right, no, I got you. Yeah, I'm at this moment, not really sure. I mean, I don't think we ever expected to have like 3 projects, on top of each other with the tennis courts, the field rebuild, and then the resurfacing of the courts. Just exactly what happened. This is what happens when you kick things down the can, or kick the can down the street. So it would be nice to not be in that place again and have a bunch on top of each other. Yeah. Right, so CPC.
And there he is.
Right.
My apologies. And we'll go to Saul. Do you have any commissioner updates?
So let's see, we did have some questions from a parent about the ski program that we addressed. Mainly ended up being sort of clarifying what we do and don't do. And focusing a little more on information and instruction ahead of time. One thing that I have asked Alicia to do for next season is to move the sort of orientation introduction meeting to before the sign up. So that people can have a little more information, introduction to what the program is, what we do, better expectations.
Yeah.
So there isn't a mismatch there. I think that was the main thing. It's not.
That makes sense. I mean, I also
Yeah.
got a question about ski club, and he said there will be an orientation.
Yeah.
But this is typically what happens. And then that same person didn't get the invite for whatever reason, so they were gonna reach out, but I forwarded them mine.
Okay, it's interesting.
So hopefully somebody reached out to you or somebody to make sure that they are getting the right emails.
I'll check in with Kels, because I know she sent a reminder out today.
Okay, yeah, I got that one today too.
Okay, so yeah, I'll check and see. Sometimes it's like the matter of, 1 letter difference on an email or something within their account.
Yeah.
So we can, if you wanna chat with me after, I can.
Yeah, I'll tell you the
Look at
name.
that account name and see if everything's set in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's exciting. Anyone listening, that's tomorrow night.
Yay!
Orientation.
Yep,
Ski club, be there, be square.
online, it's online.
Online,
Yep,
yes,
online.
dial in.
Dial in. Yeah. Okay.
But you had a chance to review minutes? Comments?
The 17th was that like 8-minute
All right.
amazing
Yeah.
check, we're done. Yeah.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I will second that.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I get to meet Nate on Saturday.
Yay.
Oh, that's right, yeah, sorry.
Bazaar.
I
Yeah,
forgot we saw the crew at the holiday bazaar on Saturday with the holiday helpers,
Hopefully good.
including Nate. So.
Hopefully a lot of tickets were taken.
people had taken a lot of those items, which is the gift tags, it's great. We still have a lot left, but this, yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later, but yeah. I did put Clean Lake Committee on here, but John's not here.
Do you know if John was planning to come?
He was the last time I went to Clean Lakes a week ago, thought he would be here.
Okay,
Okay.
we're also normally scheduled at 6:30, so you may have missed that, so why don't we
Awesome.
hold off on that for the time being?
Okay,
Uh,
all right, so.
The
Oh,
one,
yep.
yeah, well, yeah, we'll hold off, and if he turns up in before 7,
Okay.
wait for that, otherwise we'll get back to it. So
Okay.
we'll come back to it.
Cool. Transportation policy, this was something we wanted to come back to. I did get an email back from, town council, and town council. So a lot of the things that you guys brought up, a lot of great things. One of the things that he cautioned on was, overcomplicating policies and adding like more and more and more in. So we really have to take a look. He's gonna break down and look at the employee handbook to see what exactly part of the driving policy is in it.
Okay.
So one of the things that sort of changed, we had a driving policy that was completely separate of anything that we did in HR. So when a staff came on, I would sit down and review all the, rules and regulations, essentially don't do stupid things. If there's an accident, report it, things like that. And then they would sign off on it and then that would go to HR. And now they've created, I think in 2024, they implemented this town employee handbook, which is online, which supersedes that driving policy. So he kind of wanted to look at those two policies and see what the current one is before he really suggested anything that we would add into this. One of the things that did come up a couple of times that we had talked about was like, in general, we're not gonna have kids sit in the front seat. That's just, we don't do that. But he wanted you guys to know that like the state doesn't really have a statute regarding children in front seat. But he said he would feel comfortable adding something in there like children under the age of 13 years old or under 57 inches are prohibited from riding in the front seat of any vehicle. He said he would be fine with that. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
I mean, is there any reason not to just say anyone who's not staff is prohibited from riding front seat?
I mean, we could do that.
I'm not sure exactly how to word that, but yeah, essentially campers and
Yeah. If we had like teen adventures and we needed, that, I guess that's not really gonna happen either. Cause we do have 2 staff within the vans when they go on trips. Yeah, we could.
I mean, just to, the.
Who's got the tape measure? 57 inches.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We always have tape measures on us. We're usually not measuring children, but.
Right, but is that like, I mean, if we're saying that we don't want to put kids in the front seat, then let's just say that rather than qualify.
Right.
Would CIT be counted as staff?
No,
So
yeah,
would that be an issue?
well, I don't know. It's a great
Because
question,
you don't want to box yourself into a situation with that either.
right?
How old is CITs?
CITs are usually like 14, 15, 16, so teens. they should be over 57 inches. Not guaranteed, but
No guarantees, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there's some.
They'll meet the age requirement.
yeah, yeah. So that's the other question is it a one or is it both?
Yeah, it just,
Probably both.
if you had a CIT that needed to sit in the front seat, it would be a bummer if you're like, well, we can't go on the train.
Yeah.
But you, I mean, even with CITs, you still have two staff, right?
Not
Not
not always,
okay.
but usually with CITs, it's not an issue within the vans, because we don't have CITs for teen adventures, but you van. We have buses, right?
Okay.
So yes, there's gonna be multiple staff on a bus.
So, I mean, to make sure we don't box ourselves into a corner we don't want to, but it seems like it's not an issue. And just simpler, yeah, taking. That way you don't have to know everybody's age precisely. You have to know everybody's height precisely.
Check IDs.
Which they won't have. Here's my middle school ID, which I lost. Cause it's summer.
Create little ones that say like how tall they are. So that's kind of where we're at.
Let's. December. Nothing's really gonna happen before the next meeting. Let's try and wrap this up before we do.
Okay. The reality is like the other portion of it that we had been talking about. I mean, we've already talked about it as a staff, they're already, operating under those. That policy as the draft has been, so, yeah. Okay. Let's get. Okay. Updates. So I think with the updates, especially, tennis court, obviously. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna start
Pleasure.
taking,
Yeah, different.
oh, weird. What is it? That doesn't even match mine. What is it doing? Oh my.
No, imagine.
That was weird. Okay, well, here we are. Obviously this project, there's a few little tiny things that are left. But I think, tennis courts, it's closed for the winter, so I'm gonna start taking the stuff off the agenda.
Do we padlock them or what do we do anything with them for the winter?
I don't know if they're padlocked. That's a great question. I will ask and see if we're doing that. We do have locks for them.
Okay.
Has anyone been rollerblading on them?
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that yet. We usually see a lot of wheeled bicycles, scooters, things like that down at 300 King. So that's like on the basketball court and whatnot. I have seen leaving work a fair amount of people with their dogs inside, letting them kind of run free. I mean, well, yeah, think about it.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, if they're going to the bathroom, that's not good,
Right.
not ideal. So there are some other things that are a little bit quirky about it, but, all right, so I'll find out about if we're locking the tennis courts.
And how would people know they're closed for the winter? Like if we have a beautiful winter day,
Yeah,
how do they know?
that's a fair question. So the nets are down, so that's one thing.
Okay.
Cause we winterize them, so we would, take the nets away, store them away for the summer, and come back in the spring. But let's say, I feel like a long time ago, we had like a beautiful January and it was like, everybody's
70s.
outside shorts and t-shirt. If that was the case and people wanted to bring their own pickleball stuff, like, it's fine.
That's a pickleball license.
Well, not there, but like if, for example, at the high school, if they wanted to go there and set up and, use that, they totally could. it's a public space. So, yeah, but we don't make any effort to snow blow. Yeah, it's too much. We just can't do that.
And we wouldn't want people shoveling here.
Yeah, exactly. Everything has been newly surfaced. We really don't want us with that. So Whitcomb is pretty close to being done. We just had a few items left on the punch list. Cataldo will come back out in spring and just check on the grass and see how it's doing, because there's a mixture of sod and the hydro seed that was out there that surprisingly took off okay, and it was almost a little bit cold. So we were pretty shocked by that. So we'll see if it lasts the winter and starts up again in spring. So yeah, so they'll check in on that, and if there's any issues, then they'll, fix those things. But for the most part, we're pretty good done with that project. So obviously those two, same thing, unless something comes up, then, I'll throw it back on here for project updates. The basketball courts, so this happened in between, obviously, our last meeting in October and now. They were completely resurfaced. So in the past, we hadn't actually done the black binder coat. So we did do that this time. So hopefully it should last us another 10 years, which is really good. Typically they suggest every 5 years, but I think with this binder coat, it'll last us a little bit longer, hopefully. But yeah, they were looking good. People were out using them. So it's great to have that project done. Okay.
And those don't close during the winter, right? That's just because it's open.
Yeah,
You're not removing nets.
No, it's the same exact thing of, if the courts are clear and people want to use them, then it's totally fine. I would not suggest people being out there on the snow or if there's ice or any of that. That is a no go, don't play then. But yeah, if they are clean and clear like they are on these images, then I don't see any issues with it. Any other questions? Okay. All right, so continued discussion on policies. The last time we had talked, you guys had suggested putting pulling things together for the website as far as our policies. So I have tasked that to Nate. So as soon as we're done with holiday helpers, he's gonna get started on doing that. In January, I want to go through and just present a list of the department policies that we have and see if that's something that you guys want to review, look at them, so that we can kind of start that process. But I mean, for right now, with having new staff and holiday helpers, trying to get the programs, going for ski club and whatnot, it's just been mad at the office, so I have not had a ton of time to dedicate to it, so I apologize for that.
I know the select board is working on a policy for use of the common.
You mentioned that last
Yeah.
time, yeah,
And so I think
to match it.
once they get there, we should align with the use of Fed Park with
Okay.
similar
Yeah,
things. I think there's a little more focus on sort of public forum for the common,
okay.
public speaking place, but
Interesting. Do you know if they have a draft of that yet?
I believe they have some things drafted. They were still looking. I discovered last night that they have a few more things to talk about.
Oh, really? Okay. That I'll ask Lisa if I can take a look at the draft.
Yeah. I think Mark is working.
Okay.
Jeff.
So I'll reach out to Lisa.
He's not right. Or maybe I think it's the other way around. But anyway, well, I will reach out to Mark.
But yeah, I would love to look at the draft and just see, I mean, yeah, the rental policy is something we definitely need to update that whole process. I think it could be much easier than it is, so.
Yeah, I think the other thing we have talked about is it's similar to the way that the select board does the 1 day liquor license, just hand you the authority unless you see a reason to deny it and address it.
I can't do, well,
You
I
can
could.
approve anything.
I can say, yes, you would be allowed to do it, but then the next step is going to the select board and asking for that.
No, sorry, just for the use permits, like the.
Oh,
doing
yes,
earlier,
okay, all right,
that you would be able to approve them if you decide there's a question or you want to reject the.
Gotcha.
Bring it to us.
okay. So with the alcohol, then would that include if somebody wanted to have alcohol on site, or is that something you still would want to bring?
I mean, that's still, yeah, I think you probably do both.
Okay.
Yeah,
We can talk to town council and see if
Right.
that's
See how they do.
acceptable, yeah.
because the alcohol stuff can be like.
Exactly, and that's what I was saying, yeah, but, yeah, I can talk to them and see what their thoughts are on it, for sure.
Save a little time for people. Events.
Yeah, and in general, I, like, if it's just somebody doing a birthday party and it's like 25 people or less, I usually just say, have fun, enjoy yourself. But if it's something bigger, like, you know, a huge community picnic, but bouncy houses, then, yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else on that?
No, not at the moment. I think I mentioned before that the school committee and the select board both have their long list of policies on the
Yes.
website, so if anybody has some spare time and needs a nap, they can.
That has been added. I've already shared that with Nate, so.
Go see
we
what
can
they
start
have.
digging in there.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
start. See what we want to mimic or.
I was just kind of rethinking, the 4th of July picnic in the spirit of just it's being a community event, whether we do offer some things to them to help them out with finances. I mean,
Yeah,
like whether we want to offer up trash cans or
yeah,
help them out a little bit on the porta johns. I was thinking that because it is the 4th of July.
the hard part, I think, for us would be the staffing, because we usually have like all hands on deck at the beach.
So maybe the
But-
porta johns, but not the trash.
Yeah, well, but maybe I can work it out with them, so maybe there's a possibility of being able to like provide the trash cans. And then, you know,
They take-
allowing them a place that they can throw it away, like in our dumpster, because if you have a lot of stuff, then people don't realize how expensive it is to get rid of stuff if you don't have anywhere to put it. Yeah, we can work with them on that to see, so, yeah.
But that's okay.
Definitely. All right.
Anything else on policy?
You wanna keep going, or you wanna go
Yeah,
back?
why don't we jump back to Clean Lakes?
So the update for the Long Lake revolving, I don't have that yet, and I apologize for that. Tim has been out sick. So that is something, as soon as he comes back in, I know he's gonna finish that, so I will get that to you guys. But the discussion for adding a fee onto PFT is something that neither we do and should talk about tonight, because we need to post that January 1st.
Yeah, I think that piece would probably can fold into the discussion of the finances from the previous year and budget that you have later in here.
Yeah, and I was actually gonna suggest me talking about PMT first before we kind of discuss some of these things.
But I think maybe just on the Clean Lake side, if you're in, you want to talk about sort of what is envisioned for Long Lake or.
Certainly, sure. Mr. Chairman, sorry for being a little bit out of the loop this month. But that being said, delighted to have this discussion and was curious about how everyone felt about the first season fundraising. And see if we can grow that a little bit, and certainly like to see it go to Camp T as well. There was questions about what we can do with the money. I don't know what that amount's gonna be just yet. Trying to plan for a restoration plan for the lake this year. We weren't anticipating being able to secure funding for that. But I think it's more of a priority than ever before, just because we're collecting from so many different sources now, not just the old cell phone tower. And it's very important that we're all sort of following the same map forward, I think. So that said, of course, short-term concerns are always invasives, mitigation of those. We don't have funding for that this year because we're in the process of applying for a small dredging permit. That's been delayed a year. They have to take samples in the spring. Processing that through the state's going to take another 8 or 9 months. So that pushes us right into the following year. So we've got our fingers crossed. Things are out of control this year. It was really very good last year in terms of invasives for the first time in quite a few years, which was great. But I know concerns are with the boat wash, and if that's up and running, certainly could spend money on that. There are old systems that are part of the 25-year-old Long Lake Restoration Project. There are filteras that are supposed to process water that sheets off of the parking lot. I don't know that anybody's looked at those in years. I'm
We
not
just
sure.
cleaned them
So that's
2
a
years ago.
complaint.
Yes.
Excellent. But I know what plantings along the edge there kind of got cooked the very first season. And they're very difficult to maintain just
Yeah.
because of the amount of sun there. But long term, I would like to see this dredging permit somehow accommodate maybe even dredging out of some of the swim box to make things a little bit deeper. If that was an interest. I know it seems to be getting shallower and shallower, especially for a tall guy like me.
It's got about 300 feet before it
Yeah, just
hits
about.
your waist.
Yeah, years ago, I was involved in a water aerobics program, and there was a cluster of people, and then it was me. Yeah, like another 60 feet out. But sure, if that discussion could be held, we're grateful for the fundraising. The lake is grateful, and again, we share the common desire to keep Long Lake healthy and preserved for as many generations as possible. So nice partnership.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I hear, maybe mostly from my kids, but is just the sort of the water quality in the swimming area. It's kind of green and growy.
In terms of plant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and yeah, they tend not to want to go in.
sure.
And the bottom is goopy. At least once you get a few feet off the beach. So I think those are things that would be dredging would help with some of that.
Yeah, that's a major undertaking, and you've got to jump through quite a number of hoops to do it. But I think it's become a priority. I think if we get towards that, it won't be inexpensive, but certainly seems like we're a candidate for that sort of thing. My philosophy being, we put the sand in there, we should be able to take it out.
I was wondering about that because like probably everything's making it shallower. It's the same on the beach, so we just need to bring it back up where it belongs.
Sure. And again, I don't know long term if you would consider maybe a benthic barrier to suppress growth in the swim box, if that would be something that we'd work towards. I know they use an awful lot of those barriers over at Forge Pond.
Right.
And I don't have much experience with them, but it's sooner or later, whatever settles on top of that is going to start
Right.
having enough of a coating bit.
Peel them out and
Yeah.
redo them.
Sure.
The other thing I heard in terms, and I know you guys do it at Forge Pond, and I noticed it when I drove past the other day, the lowering the water level.
Yes.
Is that feasible at Long Lake?
We have to make a contract with the beavers.
Well, we have the beaver deceiver, so we just have to
Well,
adjust it, right?
that's easier said than done. I think, last 2 or 3 times I've checked on the deceiver, it's been high and dry. I suppose I could talk with the guys that installed that to see if we could literally drain. The problem being that we don't have a steady source of replenishment, for the lake. It's just runoff. There's a little bit of a stream that, of course, populates the wetland park and those 2 basins there, goes up through the neighborhood, but the other lakes enjoy stream fed situation that keeps them refreshed. Takes us about 3/4 of a year in average on an average year to replenish Long Lake. So it's a rather slow process, matter of days at Forge Pond.
So if you drained it, it would stay drained for quite a while.
If we drained it, it would look like it looked maybe 5 years ago, and we had that horrible drought, and you could literally walk around. It's like a beachfront. I've never seen it like that in my life. Hope to never again, but I would be leery of an attempted drawdown. Each of our lakes in Littleton is so unique, but yeah, that's one of the things that puts us on the map. We're thankful to the beavers to maintain the height that we do.
Or do we need to help the beavers?
That's right. What if we can do it
Yeah,
You're allowed.
get a little more beaver activity, but
Get a little depth back.
yeah, the deceiver, I think we have 2 deceivers. They might be 8 inches in diameter or something like that. To lower things would take a considerable amount of time, and would probably ruin a season. It's just it's sort of a.
I said I didn't realize there wasn't anything feeding the things, but okay. So not a great idea. Jim, come after.
Yeah, I spoke with Tim Mikulski, and so I think this is good news. I approached him with regard to inside the swim box. I purchased, after I spoke with him, a pool filter, or just a foot by foot, and skimmed it through the water column. The water column is only 4.5. I measured it. It's now the long dock is just 4.5 feet. And so what I approached him about was conceptual of senior tax work off. If Park and Rec was willing, interested, if using a skimmer was successful, might we engage in the senior tax work off to basically have skimmer utilization? And so he said yes. So I tried it, and I tried it on 2 different times in a September-October timeframe because it was rather still warm. And it worked very, very well, where an hour or 2, I filled up a 1 foot by foot cube and didn't have to get into the sediment, just hold it. And if you recall, at different times, storm related, we get a pretty significant crush of 1 foot to 1.5 feet of really ugly algae accumulating right on the length of the beachfront, and was able to get that with minimal distress. I won't say that I'm Tim Pearson, conservation agent perfection of not touching the sand, but it was able to really do the job, and just the weight that you would think is there is really just the water. So as soon as you lift up the skimmer, the water drains and it's lightweight. So carting it away, it's next to nothing. So I just throw that out. If I'm interested in pursuing the senior tax work off from a senior's perspective with regard to getting into socialization as well as effective work, for them if they're interested. But I really see it as a benefit to clean up that, what you described as that green algae kind of scummy, sort of feeling. And I was shocked. I think it was the second time I went out there, somebody that was at the beach with their kids actually came up to me and said, "You got another one, I'll be happy to help." So with that, I took it as a positive. So I just want to give that perspective, because we could theoretically have a half dozen people periodically say, yep, I'm interested, should we be able to, move in that direction? And just want to mention that as you commented about your kids' experience.
Yeah. No, I mean, that sounds interesting, certainly.
It's just a matter of talking to Liz and coming up with like a description.
And
Yeah.
just, I don't, with all of the other environmental things, I just want to make, or the conservation things, make sure that we're not crossing any lines there.
Oh, yeah, Tim Pearson was very clear with me when I spoke with him about it. He said, if you touch that sediment, you're gonna get into John's space with regard
Dredging.
to the whole dredging.
Okay.
As nonsense as that is. So with that, I attempted to be very careful. And again, I wasn't perfect, but you look at my cube and there was very little sand in it. And therefore, I think there is a way, and again, reasonableness would say a few grains of sand. But I think your points all serve because of the steps that are being taken to be very professional and diligent with regard to the permit process. Don't want to cross that line by all means, not suggesting that whatsoever.
But no, that sounds certainly, and I don't know what you saw in terms of if you saw any water quality, if it's going to take more passes to make a noticeable difference.
I was probably, the volume that I was going after was in that first foot to 10 feet in. And there was still plenty of algae. And, as you're walking on the beach, you can see sun reflection. You can see that it's there part of the route. So there's plenty there. But what I don't have experience, and don't want to overstate this, is once you remove it, how quickly does it return? How quickly does it? I have no perspective. I was really doing it with it's just a sampling of, is there anything here that's even an idea? And I think as the spring comes about, I think it's got merit to try to do it. And I will definitely be interested, time willing, to get at it a little bit more than I did.
The other thing we just want to make sure too is that in that scooping, we're not taking any like native life like tadpoles or something.
Yeah. They're pretty darty and
Okay.
so
that would be.
I can assure you that my experience, and again, I only did it for a few hours.
Fall versus.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I agree 100%. And still I think there are parameters to be thoughtful about. I agree with you.
Yeah.
100%. But what I saw, were still fish around when I was there, not tadpole fish. And they're very alert, and once I'm in the water with my feet, they're around.
Did you dump the waste in a barrel or where did you?
Actually, I put it on one edge of the beach, so I was doing some walking. It wasn't the most efficient thing. But then what I did with the cube, I just took it home. It's probably some of the best free fertilizer, if you will. And again, because it dried, it wasn't heavy. I used a wheelbarrow to, remove it from the beach to my place, but I think I just mentioned as an idea that if you're interested, please encourage Tim. I kind of use him as my contact on this sort of thing. And I'm also separately in with Liz and Mark Rombacher with regard to senior tax work-off program and trying to increase the cap and things so we can get some more people. But I'm very open. If you've got, I take everything that you said, and
Does it start at age 65 with senior tax?
I believe so, yeah.
I think it is.
Eric?
Okay.
Yeah, no, let's keep that discussion going.
You could call it aerobics too, water wings.
There you go.
Twofer, it's a twofer.
It'd be interesting to see if we have as hard a winter as it looks, what it's gonna do, because it's frozen. I don't remember it being frozen over this early.
No, yeah, I don't think it's frozen solid yet, but it's the edges are free, yeah.
Big enough for the parents.
What's that?
I said, it's thick enough for the herons. I saw one walking across the other day.
Wow, okay. And I guess, so there was a question, the, deep dock is, I guess, staying in for the winter at this point?
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, yeah.
We may want to just, so that's actually, that was another question that came up in mind. I know most of the conservation property around there does not allow motorized vehicles, but is there any lake regulation about winter motorized vehicles?
Motorized vehicles
Yes.
for winter time?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
we've had.
There were definitely.
I know there are.
High yield motorcycles, we've had snowmobiles, we've had.
On TV, please don't do this thing. There you go.
Is there a concern or?
Well, obviously, we have this, the dock is the, the plywood link blocks, so would not want somebody to run over that with
Oh,
a
no.
spike wheel motorcycle or even a snowmobile necessarily.
They want to avoid fishermen obstacles.
Right, so obviously we may want to flag it somehow, just to.
Yeah,
If we're not pulling it out.
I think I said last time, I think that someone should put a tent up there and call it home for the winter.
Put their ice fishing out on top of it.
There you go. Just so they don't bore a hole in the center.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Seems to make sense at the moment. Those are dangerous.
So do you want me to do Camp T?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this one, we've talked about ski last time, and ski is very, very complex. So I tried to simplify this a little bit. Just doing revenue, wages, expenses / benefits. Ugh. What is wrong with this thing today? I did it to here. So for some reason, it does not want to go on slideshow mode. So I'm gonna stay. Welcome. Any suggestions, Dave? It's kind of weird.
We were displaying it before.
I know.
There you go.
All right, so I'm gonna leave it on this. I'm not gonna put it on, but you can read it well enough. I'm having a hard time reading it. Pete, I love that you do this. Love it so much. So I tried to make it a little bit more simple this time, just kind of going on a few things here. So I did break up the revenue between before and after care, Camp T itself, and then CITs. So the revenues, that's how much that we brought in on each of those. We have about 80% of the program coordinator wage, and we were covering 50%. Last year, we're now going to be taking on the office coordinator 100%. They took that away. So that at the end of the day, with those components included, then you end up with 148,000, almost 148,500. And then we also have indirect costs through the department that we try to cover as well. So annual costs I have on there, and this is I just wanted to clarify, this is January through December, because that makes more sense for the program rather than what we normally look at for fiscal year, which runs July through January, because then you would have one bit of one summer and it gets confusing. So I just wanted to do this calendar year so that it makes a little bit more sense. So we have I put on there the annual cost for all of our full-time staff, including the COLA, that's cost of living increase. And that also is subtracting the amount that I had on that top part, which is the 50% of the office coordinator and 80% of the program coordinator. So the 200,000 is what's left over. The benefits, that again, in cost, and I broke it out over here so you can see what the the benefits cover: health, life, Medicare, and pension. We have office supplies that all of this stuff just has to be paid out of revolving. It's not something that we have general funds that pay for these things. So has to be included in our programming. Memberships and conferences, and then staff uniforms. So the annual cost for those from calendar year from that previous year was the $320,660. So taking 45% for Camp T to pay those items, then we end up with a net of $4,158. So like we talk about these things about us trying to keep the cost of our programs down as low as we possibly can. We want to make sure that we come out in the positive. But this is a good example where, you know, people are like, oh my gosh, but you brought in like $500,000, but we also spend money out. So, so at the end of that calendar year, we have, you know, just over 4,000 in that after it covers office supplies, or sorry, not
It is
indirect costs.
right.
So,
The 45%, is that based on revenue as a total percentage of revenue, or is it being?
So the Camp T is the largest program that we have, so it provides the largest amount to help cover the costs of those indirect costs. So that's around 45%.
Yep.
So that is where we're at right now. As far as so the fiscal year, so this we are jumping, so I apologize for this. Fiscal year 25, the rates were $340 for a resident and $365 for a non-resident. So last year we did increase that by 7.4%. So that went up to $365 per week for a resident and $385 for a non-resident. And then this year, as the staff has kind of looked at the numbers, we end up having to do about like an 8.3% increase, which obviously that's not great. We don't want to do that. But we're at $395 per week for a resident and $405 for a non-resident. I think that still keeps us a little bit below other camps that are in the area. Some of them we haven't seen it, like Acton hasn't put theirs out yet, so we don't know what that's going to be. But you know, we always try to be that lowest cost in the region. So that's kind of what we're looking at for this year. But in reference to the Long Lake revolving, you know, if you guys were considering something like, you know, 1% of the revenue, then, you know, this past year would have been $5,558.
How many campers, do we normally?
So we had, the average for each week this year was 192 per week.
For 8.
For 7.
Seven.
Yeah.
So a dollar
I love
a camper is only, it's not 1%, it's maybe only $2,000 or so.
Yeah, yeah. I think when we had talked about this last time, I think that was one of the suggestions was like 1% of the revenue.
Yeah, I think I was. Yeah, we could do it as a percentage, it was like essentially $1 a day. Per camper. It's a similar number,
Yeah,
which I think, yeah, so it'd be $5.
and I did ask Jeff to add that into the budget, so we are with
Okay.
those numbers.
Okay,
That's-
with a
that's-
1%. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
I think the other piece that as we put the budget together, we get to, and this is more just to maybe we'll have to go through it. And this is your area, right? Numbers, maybe?
I told you last time, come and see me
Yep.
anytime, Nora. Happy to
Yeah.
have you around.
Figuring out the right way to assign overhead and
Yeah.
some of that stuff.
I know, that's what conceptually, I can't even think a percentage is probably right, because otherwise you're counting out markers that go, right? You use a marker for Camp T and then later in the year you use it for something else.
Right, right.
Like, how do you?
Yeah.
How do you get to a number that?
That has always been the challenge, so that is something we are going back to the drawing board this year and taking a look at those things. To see if we can come up with some sort of idea or concept that will allow us to have something more what's on
Concrete.
board, yeah, on, yeah,
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
you know, the way that I've seen it done corporately is you basically break down the overhead from the previous year, the revenue from the previous year, assign the percentages, and then the strange one is always do you assign overhead to new things
right,
because that then has more overhead, but it makes sense for the next year.
Yep.
So, but it's probably something along those lines.
it's tricky right now because we know that our health insurance is going up. You're like, really? But by a lot.
Yep.
It's a lot. HR has been trying to work really hard to keep those costs down. So they're in the process of looking at what they possibly can do, but it is way higher than they thought it was going to be. So that's one thing. The other is that they are finishing the class and comp study, so that will go to town meeting in spring, which means then, program coordinators, office coordinator, all those people are gonna probably make more money.
Have a little more, right?
And then the other issue is that, this year is one of the years that we're gonna look at the Schedule C and see if we need to insert the cost of living increase to that grid as well. So that was the one that we had done over 5 years to get us to the point where the grade 1, step 1 was, $15 an hour. So that we were meeting the state requirements for minimum wage. But at this point, we've had that grid for maybe like 2 years, 3 years. So we should look at, increasing those. There's also murmurings of the state increasing the minimum wage to $20. So
Again, probably over 5 years.
I would hope that would be nice. I would appreciate that a lot. But it's something, we can get a jump on that now and start that process. Because last time, I think we were at like $9, $8.
Before,
Yeah,
Okay.
to get to 15. So that was, working with Stephen Duty was amazing, but it was quite a ways to go.
And we may, and if you have it account for the, should probably account for potential overtime.
Well, that's something we're gonna talk about a little bit later,
Yes.
but, yes, that is something we can and should do that.
Yeah.
What's NRPA's membership these days?
I think it is. I think the last one I paid was like $675 for like the company, if you will, the organization. So it covers all of us as far as staff goes. You guys are covered in that as well, so you're members of RPA. Yeah. So its conferences are expensive. I very much of my staff is feeling like there's training that's gonna be able to help them do better or to provide, whether it's like safety, first aid, I definitely encourage them to take that training as well. So.
Did I hear correctly when you said the rates for 2026 that you mentioned?
Last year,
Wait, 395 and 405.
that would be this coming season.
Yeah, so proposed for,
Yeah, we are discussing that right now. Yeah, so that's not solidified.
but does that include the increased rate for Clean Lakes? Okay, that's what I thought. And this year it was, you said 365 for
This
residents.
past summer, yes.
385. Okay.
Is the gap, am I hearing that, or is the gap between resident and non-resident dropping?
It's. I don't. It's, no, that is, yeah, so I'll have to talk to Jeff about that. Yeah, because that's only like a $10 difference. Yeah, I'll talk to him about that.
Yeah, I think we should keep it either at the dollar amount or the percentage amount.
Right.
A couple years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair, because the other two amounts you told us it was $20 difference between residents.
so I'll make sure that he'll change that. Yeah.
What's the ballpark percentage of out of town residents?
So that's a really great question, and for the entire time that I've been here, it's pretty much been 75 residents and 25. I mean, it skews like a couple, like, 1 or 2% every few years, but on average, it stays pretty close to that 75, 25, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so the other thing I think I've mentioned a couple times, I think it makes sense to do as we look at the combination of Camp T and the beach budgets, is to call out a transfer between Camp T and the beach. Because the beach is such a big part of the program. And otherwise it ends up looking like the beach is losing money.
Right,
That we're pulling from Camp T anyway, but
right,
if we call it out, it's like if we were going to some other beach or waterfront,
right,
we would be paying that facility for the access.
yeah, right.
So just to sort of clarify those buckets. But
Just like, I don't know how you assign a cost to that.
take a wild swing at it, and I mean, I think the number I heard from somebody was other camps when they go to a facility, it's $1 a day or something, for each camper, right?
Yeah, you have to come up
Like,
with
no
a
way.
unit,
Whatever it is.
right? You have to come up with a unit cost
Yeah,
per camper.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
the day passes for a kid is what? $3 or $4.
Or, yeah, so $4 or $5 depending on the resident.
So,
resident.
heavily discounted off of
Yeah.
that, and I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll follow you here. Okay.
That's a, yeah. Just to try and help, help show that
Yeah.
it is not,
And that, not that specifically, but I did talk with Jeff and that was something that I wanted to work on for this year was to be able to have a breakdown to show like what the, what the costs are going towards to pay, because sometimes, that helps when you're looking at, a total cost and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
then we anticipate very similar to 200-ish kids a week
Yeah,
for 7 weeks.
yeah.
So since these rates are being put out there typically January first, is this something we need to vote on tonight, or what do we need to act on something?
So, no, well, I guess if you wanted to clarify and say that we are going with the 1%, or you could do that. I mean, like I said, we've added that into our budget, so it's something that we've already done, but that's up to you if you want to vote on that or not.
Well, I don't. Guess we can. Think it's necessary. It's already in there, but just for the public knowledge, we're going to do that. And make sure it's clear, but yeah, and I think so 1% is an easy way to do it. Fairly straightforward, so. Yeah.
And we're gonna potentially look at raising non-residents to
Yeah,
40.
yeah, I'll check with Jeff on that.
Any comments from the?
So. Wish there were more. Don't we all?
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's what I was hoping for. I'll say that as the years go on, I hope that consideration could be to bump it up 1% or some portion. I'm separate from Clean Lakes. I want to make sure everybody knows that I'm not a Clean Lakes member. Where I was just looking is Clean Lakes was scrambling for funding. I viewed Camp T with the $500,000 revenue and utilization, as you discussed, as being a consideration. And yet, what I find in the last several years at Clean Lakes, and again, John's the expert, I'm not, but often Clean Lakes annual activity fee, if you will, is roughly 35 grand. With the 1% from Camp T, along with the Long Lake memberships that you did 1 year ago, you're already at 10 grand per year. I in no way want to suggest that this just continues to rise. But I think ideally from a town perspective, and me as a resident of the town, getting a little bit more towards there so that there's, like, we're going to manage, because last year was a good year for the lake. And there was effectively, nothing done. May not be in every year. And if we came every other year, then maybe we're looking at 15 in today's money. That's reasonable. So that's where I'm directionally, but I think the future, something to monitor. I think this is a great first step. Very much appreciated, that where you're at.
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
much appreciated.
obviously, naturally, with the amount will grow because the fees are going to grow, and hopefully with the new school, the capacity will grow. So
Yeah.
And we can get rid of the wait list, which would be nice.
Yeah.
We still had wait list for most.
Not a ton, but
Okay.
yes, yeah, the numbers have definitely gone down.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's people finding other paths and just not deciding to do it, or
I don't know either, yeah.
demand is still there.
Yeah.
So, but
COVID, people's work at home so much more than.
maybe, yeah, they don't need to, yeah. So, okay.
Like your children, people.
Send them out into the world.
Out into the world.
Okay. Yeah, why don't we just go ahead and I'll look for a motion to endorse the 1% commitment TNT fees to the Clean Lakes Fund.
I'll make that motion to what
Thank
you
you.
just said.
Second.
All right, we have a motion in a second. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye. All right.
All right. Sorry, we've been jumping around. I'm trying to think of where we need to go back to. We did-
Special events, did we do those?
No, we did not.
Okay.
Don't have a ton here. So trunk or treat, believe it or not, that was the last one that we had, so, because we didn't meet in November. But unfortunately, I was not there for the trunk or treat event, but Tim had said that it was really awesome. We had a lot of involvement from folks that did trunks. So yeah, it's one of those special events, you know, we love to see happen every year, and yeah, it's just a really great community event. All right.
Yeah, for some reason you're still on.
I'm trying to like take Dave's please don't leave the slideshow up 24/7, and then
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right, so there's some lovely photos. So gotta love our highway guys dressing up like safety cones. Maybe they should dress that way all the time. Be kind of fun. Okay, all right, so let's see. The next one is our holiday helpers program. So yeah, we were just at the town bazaar. We were I guess we could say selling these ornaments, but the reality is that, you know, if folks make a donation to Holiday Helpers for $20 or more, you get one of these lovely ornaments. We do have a lot left, so if people are interested in making donations, it helps all of the funds go directly towards buying gifts and needs for the kids. So right now we have 57 kids that are all Littleton residents that are enrolled in the program. I'm working on with another family trying, so we may be up to 62 kids, which is the most we've had in a really long time. So yeah, this year, I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to cover 100%. We have every year in the past, but I think everybody's just having a hard time and, you know, trying to help out the best they can, which is extremely appreciated, but yeah, I don't know if we'll get there this year. So yeah, we still do have a lot of tags left, so if anybody's interested, we'll put stuff up. We have an Amazon gift registry. We have cards that you can pick up at the library, senior center, and we have them at our office as well. So all of those things. If you would love a lovely ornaments and say a minimum of $20 donation, you can have one. They're really nice.
Does that count for people who picked up tags or just cash?
And just cash, like the donations. Yeah, yeah. But that's interesting to think about that very much. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. Everything is due back on Monday, which is crazy that it's come by so fast. So we'll be giving out items to families next week. Which yeah. Summer's going by quick.
It really is.
All right, so we did that. Let's see here. So now we are on So capital improvement projects for fiscal year 25. I don't know why I left 25 on there, this is for 27, so my apologies on that. So last year we accomplished quite a lot. We were able to get our resurfacing done. We did the tennis courts, we did Wickham Field, all of those things. These are huge projects that we've been waiting to do for a very long time. So where we are at now with the projects that were on there previously, we have the dog park. That was something that was one of the highest requested items when we did our statistically valid recreation needs study. So for this year, we were slated to have 75,000 requests for capital for design. We also so that would be like the number one highest priority for this coming fiscal year. The second one would be renovations to Fay Park. So for that one, we would be asking 150,000 for a design on that. And then the one coming up after that would be the seasonal community pool. And that would be 100,000 for a feasibility study. Because that's something, you know, especially where we are right now with Shaker Lane being built. I think maybe we should push that off and not request that. That's something when the debt service starts going down, maybe we should look at that again. So the question, so that is one thing. But then the question would be, you know, do you guys still want to move forward with dog park and Fay? Do you want to push some of these off? Because right now we're in the process of talking about those budget items. Before they go to, we have like our budget meetings that will be coming up, usually in January and February. So I wanted to put it forward to you guys to see what you thought.
Does the design part of the dog park include site selection? Because that seems like the biggest challenge.
Yes,
Yeah.
certainly is.
What are the possibilities
For site.
for a site?
So as far as land that we have that we could potentially put something, there is property across from essentially the middle school next to 495. That is a piece of property that the Park Commission has been in care and custody of. Tricky part with that is that we would have to work with Light and Water.
So beyond the track?
So
Well, so there, that's another piece, so
Oh.
that is a possibility as well, but access to that one is a challenge.
this one's the other side of 495.
Yeah.
The
Oh.
trail.
Oh,
goes down.
oh, that-
Yep, so
Yes.
that one has a steep entrance. Yeah.
Is there a place for parking or that would be
You could.
creation?
There's, if the big issue with that one is access, honestly.
That's the speed trap, right?
It
Yeah.
could be.
Is there some, oh, it's right where the,
Isn't that where a cruiser sits all the time?
Oh, that's it?
Right over the bridge?
Often, yes.
okay,
Yeah.
I don't
Definitely.
Yeah.
drive that time of day, but it's also where the sign, this, your speed and
Yes.
school zone sign is.
Yeah.
We had looked at that for something and I forget, was it?
We always try to find something for this.
But then we were
Everything.
worried about police patrol.
Yeah.
I think was there also concern? Because I thought we talked about this for the dog park previously, and there was some
Yeah.
concern about. Oh, I thought it was water quality.
Yeah, so that was, that's why I brought up Light and Water. So, yeah, that would be something we would want to work with them on that. So, because
Right into our well.
right, yeah, we don't want that.
It's that brook runs right. There's a brook that runs through the backside of that, where you come through from that.
That's on the that's on the water part, of the property. It doesn't come through that section.
Doesn't come over that.
No, it doesn't come over that part. But I believe Lake and Water had tagged that as a potential area for like a wellhead, so. Yeah, that's again, something we have to talk to them about. Norm, you had mentioned, or not Norm, sorry, Pete, you had mentioned we have a space that's right behind the track. That's a possibility. I don't think Cooper Farm is the appropriate place for that, but that is a possibility.
Is that still theoretically town land, the
It's park, it's recreation.
part in front of the septic system thing?
Yep, that is meant specifically for a recreation project.
Oh,
And until it is being used for that, they allow hay farming on there. So it's being used as ag right now, but it's for recreation. You know.
guess what's the potential for a dog park?
It's not big enough for much else. Is it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We tried to shove the tennis courts in.
We did. That did not go over well. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it would have been a beautiful park. It really would have been nice, but yeah.
The new neighbors didn't like it, or?
It was too expensive.
You had to build parking lot and access road.
Oh, gotcha.
Added substantially to the cost of the project. Which. I guess you probably won't, I don't know, yeah, I'm not sure what. You would need for a dog park either.
So they're all different sizes.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that again would be part of the design process of figuring out. So.
You would need some parking, some capacity there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can park on the side of the street.
It's 119.
No, the other, the Cooper Farm. Cooper Farm Road Street.
Oh, like
fine,
at Cloverdale.
No, the private, like
Just the drive.
Yeah.
Oh,
the,
I'm sure
the
they'll.
road into the.
Yeah.
I think it's a public road.
Think of this.
I think it was accepted.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it.
We also need to figure out fields too, right? But
So this is where the challenge
Yeah.
is, and this is where it's like frustrating, because we came up, like Tim did this amazing job trying to figure out like how to balance everything out. And then as soon as we do that, now we're losing baseball fields.
Yeah.
So, you know, the reality, we have to figure out and clarify what's actually gonna be on the chopping block and what's not. So that's one part of it. Then we also, you know, have the softball and baseball fields at the high school, which we can breathe life back into and use those for the time being. But I think, you know, with the school being built and with fields being taken down, like we are gonna have a time where we're gonna have compressed usage, and we are gonna have to look at sharing space again. So we can figure out ultimately, what is the game plan as far as, you know, are you replacing? Because I felt like the select board was supportive of you know, if we're getting rid of a facility, we should replace it with something like, you
And
know,
I think that is and we want to be part of that discussion
right.
with the building committee, but I think that is the intent is to put.
yes,
But the concern, I
It's
think,
the-
was
it's
in
the
the
interim.
design,
Yeah.
in the design, they didn't have. It wasn't replacing what was already there.
No, the latest design was.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, the
Okay.
latest version, they put two baseball fields, or two diamonds out
Okay.
where the existing school is.
yeah, but it's
Okay.
just it's the interim solution.
Yes.
but
Right.
that,
And where. How long the baseball field is out of commission
Right.
or.
If we can time it
Come back.
well, right? So it's not like, hey, we're starting in spring this year and then we're ending in, you know, beginning of summer this year, that would be awful, right?
Right.
So if we can figure out timing that makes the most amount of sense, that would be ideal as well.
That's, I mean, yeah, our. Our desire for timing, I don't think is gonna have any
Oh,
schedule.
I hear you, but that's something we can.
We can find
suggest
out
and
what
try.
it is, but
Yeah.
I think the baseball field was given just for material storage. Unless conservation stops them from doing that, which they might. Because there is some left in there.
Yeah.
But
And then the other question will be when Shaker Lane current building is ripped down, what's going in there?
Baseball
That's-
fields,
ball fields, yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
I think.
but again,
If
the
it's big
amount of
enough.
time.
Yeah.
Right, so what is the
Right.
time frame? And you know, you can. Look at Indian Hill, right? Perfect example of you have an expectation of what this like Gantt sheet is of, you know, hey, we're gonna start the project at this time and we're gonna be done at this time. And then life happens and things change drastically. So, you know, you can do the best that you can to organize and prepare for that, but you never know what's gonna happen.
New construction is
Much easier to do that, yes.
a little more predictable than renovation.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, I mean, yeah, I think.
So are there any of these that, do you want to put all of them in? Do you want to put stuff on hold? That's kind of where I'm asking at the moment.
Yeah, I would love a pool, but I don't think the time is right.
I agree with that.
To move
Thank you.
forward on that.
I also, the other question that came up was typically the feasibility design study is 10% of the project cost.
Yep.
So $100,000 doesn't get us any next year. Like, what do we think? Hey,
Oh, no, that's the feasibility study. It's the design, that's the 10%.
okay,
Yeah.
so this is just.
So this is you're hiring a, as contractor coming in my mind,
Consultant.
sorry, thank you, consultant. To come in and essentially create a report of, can we responsibly, feasibly do this? So I really do not feel like now is a great time to do that.
Yeah, no, I think,
That's a lot of money for just a report.
Yep.
yeah. That is a project that's certain 10 years out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's one, you know, I would suggest pushing that out.
I agree.
I don't think that we're there yet.
Which one?
The pool.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Not go over well.
And that's the thing, though, we are trying to be cognizant of the town as a whole. And yes, there, you know, are requests to have facilities. But you can only do so much so quickly, you
We'd be
know.
better off saying, let's stretch Long Lake and keep that lake alive. Right?
Yeah,
I'll spend $100,000 on helping the lake
yeah.
better than a pool at this point, I think.
Put in giant filter system, so area.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
But seriously, I think
So that, I assumed that was something we were gonna push off. But then the question is, you know, dog park and Bay Park.
and Fay Park is the redo of the gazebo, is that what we were talking about?
No, so Bay Park out of all three areas is the least accessible park that we have. We also had an ancient swing set that was out there that I had removed. It has to be like 5-6 years ago now. So the, you know, and the little play area is gonna, you know, need to be looked at sooner than later at some point too. So, and Fire had vocalized interest in putting some money towards a new playground that would be fire themed. Which would be a lot of fun. So, and there's other facilities that, you know, would make sense to have in there. And parking as well. So there's a lot of things that, you know, a renovation could fix at Big Park.
Do we have a sense of what it costs to Acton to redo their playground and parking area across from True West?
I can ask them. Yeah,
'Cause that's it's a fairly compact area.
it is, very much
And
so.
it's hugely popular.
Yeah.
Of course, it's probably true west. with
Yeah.
the Parents.
Well, it helps that there's ice cream, a brewery and a yoga shop across the way. Yeah, I hear you on that. But the parking's tight there too.
I was gonna say, there's no, well, I guess there's street parking, right? That's the
There's
difference.
street parking
And there's
and they're parking
10
in
spots
the,
in the playground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually. Related to. I just heard this in the select board meeting, so I think they're talking about. Moving the Tuttle House to the property across from. Next to the Mason Lodge. Mason Lodge.
what? In the park?
No, so. Next to Fay Park, between Fay Park and not Fay Park.
300 King.
Yeah. Where the longhouse used to, remember where the longhouse was?
Well, that's like. Interesting, that's interesting.
That's all
It's a
woody, right?
Like, would it even fit? I don't think that would.
What
fit there.
longhouse? What longhouse you're?
There was
That's
there
a historic
there was a
building
historic
there.
building.
Yeah.
Because a long time ago, we had asked for, to be able to put a parking lot to extend the parking lot for Castle on that, so. I worked with Highway, we came up with a plan for an extended, parking lots when Chris Stoddard was here. And that was on that property, so that's very,
That was
Interesting.
just something I sort of
like, what would they do with it?
unclear.
What's the Tuttle House? Excuse my,
No,
It's
That's
the
it.
house
IBM, right?
on the IBM.
oh, that
property.
one.
it's where the
yeah,
barber
where the
shop
barber
is right
shop
now. Mhm.
So is it, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Why would
So-
it need to be moved?
cause it's they're the.
I could probably put a
Kings Peak
hotel.
Development,
Oh,
doing something in that space,
I gotcha.
but
So it's a-
apparently a historic house, so.
Yeah, it got all fixed up.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think
gonna
it's
be
been moved.
conference rooms when IBM was there.
Right. I
Yeah,
think it
they
was
use it for that.
moved once before,
Yeah, it was.
Least permanent building in town. This poor little house.
Just move the building. around.
Like I
Just keep moving on that sucker, it's just moving around.
so I don't know how real that plan is, but,
I hear you.
uh,
That's interesting. I have not heard that, so.
I have two things to think, related to these.
Yeah.
One is, I think Fay Park is more of a short-term possibility than the other two, in terms of like renovating Fay Park,
Yeah.
making it accessible playground. I think that's probably if I was to rank these, and
You would say
again,
Fay
I'm a pool person, like,
Yeah,
I would love a pool, but in terms of reality, Fay Park feels more realistic. But the other thing with the dog park, there's also town land that's part of the Two Brothers Trail.
Yep.
That's in the back there.
that is a very controversial piece of land.
I know that,
It has been brought up
it
for
was library thought.
fire
Yeah.
department before they built that.
I'm also thinking field. I mean, that
I know,
was a
it would be
discussion of a
beautiful.
field.
Yeah. I know.
Recreational field.
So it has come up in discussions before and has been shut down by the select board in the past, but I think those individuals are not, I
I
know.
think what I have heard is that it was intended originally when they did the acquisition, it was intended as conservation, but never got put into.
That is correct. So it does
And
not
so-
have a conservation restriction on it.
And there's a wetland piece in the front.
That is correct.
Right. There is also apparently a piece of property next to that also is gonna turn into open space. I don't know if it will be attached or what.
Part of the corridor, maybe
What's that?
part of a corridor. perhaps?
Possibly, yeah. Or maybe just be there.
Yeah. So all of these things are possibilities. Again, if we, we're doing a design that would be something I would suggest looking at, but I know that, yeah, that would probably be fun. But, I mean, you see a lot of beginning of trail systems that have playgrounds and fields and things like that, so I don't think I personally don't feel like it's that odd of a thing to do. But
Is there more field beyond, the daycare center, where the old church land
Church
was?
Meadows.
Church Meadows, yeah.
That's all, it's conservation restriction on those,
for
yeah.
ag, I thought,
Well, there's the ag in the front, right?
yeah, the front.
Oh, then I think the rest of it is conservation, yeah. Yeah. But we did, a couple years back, probably about 2 years. There was a large group of us that was like the town assessor, the building, department, Parks and Rec, conservation, and we just went over all the town parcels in town to just sort of look at them and see what they potentially could be. So we do have a list of those things, that, we can go back to, because when we originally had looked for a space for the tennis courts, we went through all of those. I think there were originally like 18 different locations, some not realistic, but at least it's like, you can consider it. So yeah, there's random things, but like as far as space that is in care and custody of Park and Rec Commission, that's not a far between to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be worth looking at other property the town has. Avoiding like the Morgan property, which is not bad, we want to go down at this point. If there are other places, I think that to me, the first question with the dog park is what do people actually want? How big, how,
Right.
what it like.
We could do
I'm not a dog
survey.
person, I don't have dogs, so I don't know what the desire is.
Never been to one myself.
Typically there's 2 sections. One would be for smaller dogs, one for bigger dogs. And each area is fenced off. But they can be all kinds of different sizes, and some are more natural where, there's just trees and that's it. Some are more, I guess I'll use the word artificial because they have like, agility training,
Right.
items that are in there, or maybe they have like plastic grass and stuff. I don't.
Yeah.
There's such a varied range that, it really, I would see for Littleton, I would imagine something more natural, not so like.
I'm also thinking that
that.
a lot of just dog owners just use all the conservation trails. I mean, there's just we have a lot of conservation land that.
But it is.
I know people get upset about dogs off leash on conservation land. Dogs
Yeah.
pooping on conservation land.
But I mean, like how. Yeah, that's sort of my question is like, is, we got some of these little parcels scattered around.
Right.
But how big a parcel do you need for being off leash to be worthwhile?
Yeah,
That you're gonna go to a destination to.
Right, as opposed to
Take
keep going
your
on
dog.
routes. Like, and I need to.
that dog that was running around in the tennis court looked real happy.
Do you go, like, for instance, that up at the farm, do you just fence in, 10,000 square feet and like
Right.
paved walkway up to it from the
Yeah.
access road? Say this is a dog park, I don't know, great.
Fence and.
Yeah.
Baggy thing on dispenser.
Yeah, I don't know what's involved in the design of a dog park.
Right.
It literally, like, it spans
Yeah.
that huge gamut of,
Yeah,
they can be super fancy, synthetic, like, whatever, but I, again, don't see that. I see somewhere more of like, it would be cool to have like agility, items and things like that for, you know, you can teach your dog and, be able to do those sort of things, but yeah,
Yeah, isn't it more that you just want your dog to be able to run?
Yeah.
Like,
and socialize.
Socialize, right?
That's a really
Yeah.
really important part, with dogs is. Yeah. Puppies. Yeah.
I mean, part of me says we should try and answer some of these things on our own before we go out and spend much money. But maybe, I mean, if the consultant can do that, and you know, if that's part of the program is to reach out to dog owners, reach out to people in the community to try and get
Yeah,
needs pinned down, then maybe that's valuable. I just think that that's the more important to me, the more we need to know what we're trying to create and then figure out what the location is. It's just putting a fence up, that's straightforward.
right.
I'm not sure that we need a consultant for that.
Right. But if that's not what,
But if the consulting is to establish those requirements, and then
Yeah.
it's valuable.
yeah, like hold focus groups for people with dogs to see
Yep.
what would make you actually go here.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's the intent.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I think that is probably worth doing.
Do an internal survey, I mean, because get names and addresses of people that have dog licenses, right? Do a survey.
doodle,
There's many people in town that own dogs that do not have licenses. I hear this often from our town clerk.
Yeah.
So
Start-
get your dog license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be licensed to go get a voice in this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you can't bring your dog. This is not licensed, right?
So that would be the other piece is coming up with policies for it.
Yeah.
Only licensed dogs.
Well, you
No,
know,
well-
because if there's an accident.
Not necessarily like the license component, but you definitely, a majority of places would require vaccination before, you know, so essentially unvaccinated dogs would not have there. So there's,
We're also not, I mean, I may be jumping the gun here, but we're not anticipating staffing this.
correct.
Right.
But there's gonna be a maintenance.
But this is,
But-
this is one of the things that is very, great about dog parks is that there's usually a group of people that are very passionate about it and, do a lot of policing for you. So,
About taking the little doggy baggies and cleaning up after that.
can't get people pick up trash.
listen, I know, people are different about dog poop though, so. No. Anyway, so yeah, I have to kind of go back to, the treasurer and talk about what we want to do for capital improvement for this upcoming, budget season. So just keep in mind that if we decide to take things off for a year, then we don't look at presenting and getting money until July 27. Yeah, 27.
That's why I'm kind of thinking the Fay Park is a short term.
I have a feeling it's gonna be more than you think, because if we're trying to make it accessible and add parking, we're definitely gonna need to put walkways in.
Yeah, I guess what is the? I'm not sure I have a vision of accessibility there.
I
Or
mean,
like, I'm not sure that,
there is none at this point.
right, and I'm not sure that putting walkways in there would be greeted with any sort of positivity.
I mean, it's an accessibility You know,
And-
right at this point in time, we have done like third Thursdays or events there, and there are some brave people in electric wheelchairs that go down that hill that make me nervous every single time. But I'm not, I mean, that's their choice. I'm not gonna be like, hey, don't do that. Cause it's not accessible.
Yeah.
Is the playground at Castle in the Trees accessible?
Um,
Would that be what we would have for this playground at Fay Park?
so for the most part, yes. The issue that we run into with Castle is that wood chips are not considered to be a surface. However, if we get into like, let's say we decide to switch out and put cord in place, you know, rubber, you are looking at like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's insane to do that. There is a potential of these, there's like these rubber mats, but they have not been approved yet. So we're just kind of in like a holding pattern to figure out, because we can't afford to put in place. It's just not gonna happen. Technically, it could be a challenge for somebody, yeah, that was like in a wheelchair, say.
But if you redid the playground at Fay Park, that's currently a much smaller footprint.
It
Could
is.
that be made accessible then?
I believe so, yes.
Because that would be an easier sell to town if we're adding that
Yeah,
than just walkways through the park, I think.
and I wasn't just
Well-
saying just that. That's like, that is one of the components that would allow it to be.
Because that is something we
Accessible.
should have.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, I agree with you on that, yeah.
But that, I mean, you could make that even an expanded play area footprint on that corner accessible without putting walkways through the whole park.
Possible, yeah. I mean, it's
Or doing,
a design, right? So
Right.
it's all up for interpretation.
and I think you gotta think about what the appropriate use of that park is. Does it? We have moved away from doing third Thursdays there for the most part.
Our issues.
Well, yeah, and it's just not, I mean, right, it's
Parking, water.
parking, water, it's a big open green
Open
space, which is nice, but it is.
Yeah.
That's kind of all that it is right now, and I think,
You'd have to have that be like a pavilion, like Foxborough or one of those, right? If you've got,
And we had talked about that as a possibility, yeah.
but
but then what's the demand for it? But
well, yeah, that and I just don't. think that much change there is not gonna go.
the places that have pavilions, a lot of them are at athletic fields, so where there's like
Yeah.
another draw that the community would use the.
Yes.
Jamborees.
So, I would say proceed with the dog park. I would maybe say change design into focus or study or something, just so it's clear that we're not, I know these things get kind of used generically, but it's not really design that we're looking for as much as need and citing or something, and
Demand analysis.
demand
Right.
analysis.
Well, I mean, that's like, just at the statistically valid recreation, needs.
I think, but more like the more specifics of how big, like. Maybe design is the right phrasing for this application. It's just, to me,
So do you wanna leave it or?
keep it in, yeah, I definitely want to keep it in, I just think it. Design to me reads like somebody's gonna sketch out an architectural plot of a piece of land and what it looks like, and that's not really what we're.
I mean, it's like, you know, when we put together a visual for, you know, the tennis courts. It's kind of the same thing.
Maybe if the work scope was in there or something. Because that is, I mean, design, you might think, like, we don't, to Sal's point, like, how big should it be? Like, that's where we could use somebody's input for sure, professional who does this. I don't think anyone's gonna bite hard on agility training, but like a natural space where dogs can run free and.
Oh, so that was staying designed, right? The dog park, we were talking about Bay Park.
Oh, sorry, yeah, no,
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I think Bay Park's more of a design, I mean, more of a study of like what we need to do there.
We'll look into that.
you had a comment,
Yeah,
Drew.
I'll just throw out that, earlier we were talking about the Shaker Lane, so. Mary Lee, I've got contact info, I know, Risha, you could get it, but I've got it, already available for you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So they're in detailed design, they're gonna be in that space for months. I think some buzzwords you'll wanna ask is geothermal. I think the existing softball field is going to be utilized extensively for geothermal. So I think you're probably in the worst case scenario. And I just throw out that buzzword to then force them to make sure it's not overlooked. So you get a complete understanding of when are the fields gonna no longer be available for use. The other part that this last 10 minutes has me thinking is I'd encourage you to really get into your details and some of your concepts for both the dog park and also your fave park concepts. You're about to get wood chips exist at Shaker Lane Playground right now. They're not going to be there in the future. That's going to all be accessible. You know, and I went over to the school nearby community. It's phenomenal. The equipment that's there. So you almost got the opportunity to leverage in a several years that's already got money approved with architects that's already been approved to getting your demands and see if you can actually leverage out some aspects of your new playground that you would potentially envision as putting it in Fay Park and just thinking there, you already have a park at Castle of Trees, which is so close to me from my perspective, Fay Park, that I would see a different part of the town like Shaker Lane is potentially having a value. And that's going to rise up and you don't have to pay money for that. That's going to be there. You just have to state your questions. And as you work the fields, you know, lay out, I do think this is the time for you to really go in hard with regard to you want the fields to be the distances that you want that don't have the, you know, the difficulties that you encounter at different, you know, close proximity to parking. Lay that all out, because that's my understanding. That's where they're at. They're looking for that sort of input from you of what you want. And I'd even put in there, hey, Mary Lee, you got any extra space for a dog park? Because you got the ability potentially to have, it's not a baseball field, but you may not, my previous community had a very successful dog park.
Next to a school?
No.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
But you've got space, and there's a lot of space that they're going to be pushing property and perimeter because of abutters. And I don't know, it's possible. It's not like the dog park is used late hours. It's used during the day. And you need accessibility, you need electric, you need water, you got porta potties, it's bigger. But I've seen it very successful and rather but the bigger point is Shaker Lane, you might get a free ride. So put in all the things that you have on a hit list that you might want to pursue with them, because you just might find real opportunities to get, freebies for the town.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good point about the accessible playground.
That,
Maybe.
yes, but I do not think they'll add a dog park into the school design.
No, but no, not in the school design, but I think as the design fills out, we will see what.
Septic systems in too, where the septic system is. Where
I feel like this, I don't know. Yes, that's more than
Because that
around.
is not great either, because we looked at connecting to that for the beach to put in. Because we're on a tight tank, so we're trying to get off of
Yeah.
that, and they are at like full capacity there now, so
No, but it's open space, right?
what's that?
It's space where that is.
It's a leach field, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the question. Like I said, I
Yeah, yeah.
haven't looked at the design, so I don't know where that leach field would be.
Yeah.
What that looks like, but yeah.
But no, just, you know, the only thing that I would say is as they clear everything out, and you look at the main baseball field. Hopefully that survives, but there may be space around that, or if it doesn't survive, then you've got a big green space there that we have to figure out. Yeah, something else to do with, but hopefully we're not encouraging too much, but yeah, I think big part of that discussion.
I hear you on that.
Get caught up.
All right, so I am gonna talk to Robin and I will take off the. And I will come up with a better name for Fay Park. And about parking. Okay, right.
Oh, one thing,
Dinner before this, guys. I didn't do that.
one thing, the trivia night, is that happening?
I don't know. We've had, I think Tim's had some challenges being able to do that, so I know, Bobby French was still really interested in doing it. And they had talked recently at the, bazaar. I have a feeling if we are gonna do something, it may have to be after the holidays. It still would be an amazing event, and those funds would then go to help holiday helpers the next year.
Next year,
Because when we started this year, we only had
that's what you just.
$900.
Yeah.
You know, so, it is a possibility. I don't know. That's still kind of on the table.
Is space for that an issue? Because you outgrew space for the,
Is it the ski area?
yeah.
So I think the Outlook would still potentially be interested in hosting that, but it was pretty tight when we did it there. It was great for some people that attended, so.
I mean, you can, I don't know the different sizes of there. They also have that South Lodge.
Yeah. But what was nice about that is, you know, you've got a bar in there
They
that you could not
move.
access left. Oh,
I mean, they have stuff in there. I don't know.
what?
Yeah,
Okay, all right, so we can talk about it.
Where'd you suggest?
the South Lodge in the show, so there's the main building that has the restaurant in it. There's
Yeah.
the lodge next to it. Is
Usually that's
Maybe-
where the kids like put out all their gear when they're skiing. but-
maybe a bigger open space. I don't know offhand if it is or not.
Oh. Huh.
But it's kind of just an empty lodge space. Doesn't have the big bar in the middle, so
It's very
it
long,
might have
yeah,
more room for enough people.
maybe, yeah,
And I think they can bring
whatever,
food
Wherever.
down there, yeah.
cool. Um,
I can't remember, the snow tubing building's kind of small, right?
It is,
this,
yeah.
in my mind, I always picture it way bigger than I think it is.
Yeah, I've only been in it once or
Yeah.
twice, like, it was a while ago.
10 tables or something.
Yeah.
It's, yeah,
It's the cute little building.
it's like, yeah, it's more like a snack shack kind of warming hut than a lodge.
All right, so this should be just very quick. I mean, so this is the general fund budget for fiscal year 27. Nothing it's level funded essentially. So, you know, I think at this point, we are definitely the least funded department through the general fund. So essentially it's just covering, you know, Tim and my salaries and benefits, longevity, believe it or not, I've been here for over 10 years now. Utilities, last year we did break utilities out, so utilities now is only going to be light and water, that's it. Nothing else goes in that one, so that's why the amount has gone down. Professional services are trash removal, porta potties, goose patrol, pest control, tight tank pumping. More pest control with bees and wasps. We had a really big problem with that at 300 King. Not so much this summer, but the previous summer, so I definitely put a line item in there for that in case it happens again. Vehicle supplies is gonna be repairs and maintenance. Just had to take the van in today, so we'll see what that one's all about. We are gonna have to look at replacing some of the tires, and the annual inspection for that. And then an amount for special events that the town puts for us to do programs that are at no cost to the community. But usually costs us quite a big bit to put on, so Oktoberfest is one of those events that is very costly, but we have it free for the public. So then the total amount that we have that's being requested is $2,504. So I didn't even say that right again. My apologies. You can read the slide.
254,000.
Thank you. It's all, man, crashing.
When things like the special fall town meeting come up and you're asked if we can help with babysitting and that sort of thing, does that go under special events?
No. So this year we paid for it ourselves. Jim has said in the future that they will have a line item that will pay for that in the future. Yeah. Yeah. Everything
So
else,
that'll go into the town meeting budget, not the clerk's budget.
yeah. So it's really simple stuff. We have a very, very easy general fund budget.
Yep.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
it's not, the other revolving is very complicated, but yeah, this is pretty simple. So that's it.
On the
Yeah.
capital, the van replacement was already approved, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So finding a van is a nightmare.
Did you have a chance to talk to Liz about the?
I have not yet, and I have not yet.
Okay.
But no, yeah.
That was I don't remember when it was now. I guess it's been a while since we had a meeting, so probably was in between. I went to the climate action
Oh, yeah.
something or other. It was interesting. But that was one of the topics was that,
Electric people.
electric vehicles for town vehicles were appropriate. So if I guess the Elder Human Services has one or two electric vans.
Maybe one, yeah.
One, okay.
Mhm.
That apparently the drivers are very happy about, so. Different use case obviously than our programs, but.
Yeah.
If there is an electric van that works for us, then be a consideration.
The only thing that people don't often talk about is like now in cold weather. So the truck, we have it plugged in 24/7. So it is unfortunate, I mean, but it is what's required, it's, it would not start unless we had it on. And it does suck the energy pretty quickly in the cold. So, that's one of the challenges, so we won't go long distances with it in
Right.
winter.
But most of our, other than skiing, most of our long field trip programs are in summer.
That's correct, yeah, but yeah, that is one, would definitely be ski club, because we do use that from time to time to go out to Wachusett. And the other, like, if we have to go to like MRPA meetings, Tim had one in, it was Newton, in, so that was last month. So, yeah. But in general, yes, if you're just driving around town, they're extremely useful, right? I love the lighting. It's been awesome. So, anyway. Yep. Public input.
Yeah, so, question, the red balls that are out in Long Lake, yours or Rotary Club?
Probably Rotary. I think they use those for the
Appleman.
Appleman.
Is that,
Yeah.
something you may be aware of some along the Long Lake activity with Conscom?
Oh, is that, yes, okay.
So that-
Permanent moorings.
Yeah, that's the question, right? That's what I wanted to ask them. With regard to, I know Sean and Kate, so I'm glad they reached out to you, and that's why I wanted to come here tonight. I did it informally with you, kidnapped you after your CPC meeting. And so just more of a conversation with the school committee. I went to them separately to literally say, I want you to initiate to Park and Rec Commission in order to get MOA or MOU, but get it done. Literally after the meeting, I got feedback that was, we had a draft once upon a time, it didn't come to pass. Bring an updated draft to us and start the discussion. Like they're,
We have one in the files?
Yeah.
Take it out and take a look at it.
Yeah, do you send it around?
there you go.
Sure I can.
So that would be great. It's gonna keep agitating, get both groups together, and appreciate your willingness and your interest in doing it. I think the time's right to do it, like you said earlier. The bigger thing, and I'm sad to, I'd rather be helpful and a participant, cooperative with you. But Sal, I see him smiling, he knows what I'm about to say. September of 2024, I said a story about the parking signs along the lake.
Yep. I am
October
really
of
sorry.
2024 was, I just looked up the minutes.
Yeah,
It says that the assistant is doing.
yeah,
And here we are and it's not done. Aggravated because it wasn't done. And I talked to Tim in June,
yeah,
who told me he was gonna do it at the end of the season. And I said, no, you agreed to do it in October.
yeah,
And here we are, it's still not done, December.
yeah,
Aggravated.
yeah,
I then started to take notes, and so I spoke with you either late July or early August, because my observations throughout the summer was the biggest user of all the parking spaces. You've given staff tags, stickers to the lifeguards. You said they changed. You may have spoken to them.
yeah,
I can assure you, they didn't change. They continued to park there without fail for the weeks, and I decided, nope, I'm not gonna come and, bang on it. It's just a few weeks before the season shuts down.
Mm.
I'm actually at a point where I'd rather prefer you folks to consider just getting rid of the signs.
Mm.
Forget the seasonal stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think the lifeguards should be parking there,
yeah,
but given what I've seen over the last year and a half, I don't think there's a good argument to keep those signs up. I recognize you may have that authority, but I'll tell you, that's more or less the direction we're going now, out of frustration with regard to, I feel like my request has been ignored.
yeah. And I do apologize. I'm so sorry about that. That's not typically how, obviously, we ever want to handle things. I don't.
So yes, I hear you. But I've been bringing this up every 2 to 3 months for the last year and a half, consistently. So I wish I wasn't here talking about that tonight. I appreciate all the time and effort you put in. You're doing a lot of good stuff. So I'm very grateful. And in that spirit of gratefulness, Norm, I don't know if you were involved in it, but from my perspective, the significant vote on Shaker Lane turned in the last several weeks with regard to the sports teams, and the word got out, and it got out, and it got out, and it showed up. So thank you. Done.
Yeah, on the part, I know there was. We've gone around a few times and in terms of. Wanting to have the correct signs or
Right.
this or that, and at this point. I would ask that it, at the very least. You gotta take some black tape and just cover the,
Seasonal stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
or the permit required.
Right, right. Okay.
I know that Tim wants to get new signs.
Yeah,
That is fine. They will, let's make sure that we. Have him share the language with us before he orders them, so that. We're all happy about it,
yeah,
but at the very least, let's cover the permit required piece, because I agree with Rob that. This has gone on entirely too long.
yeah.
Field trip tomorrow.
Uh, and on a related note. We need to talk to the Long Lake Association. And move that upside down pavilion or sign or figure out
Yeah,
where that
It's
is
gonna
going to
go.
live. Or just,
get rid of it.
well,
No, yeah, that's a tough one.
move it somewhere else, like
Yeah.
it doesn't belong there.
If you'll allow me, so I think you're aware, that, there's about $250,000 being spent on the water basins.
Yep.
And so in previous discussion, I'll say a year and a half to 2 years ago, conceptual was, and maybe we resurrect it then, as the walkway is redone, as the, dredging is completed, there's invasive work that's underway with CPC funding that's gonna be done, so the whole area might be in a refresh, and that's certainly a part of what the signage material has in it. So that might be a consideration for
Right.
location. for-
Yeah, and I'm not sure at this point whether there's anything. Structurally sound in that,
I know,
other
that's
than 4x4s,
right.
so. Let's just figure it out and
Okay.
talk to Long Lake if they want it. Put it somewhere, if they don't want it, scrap it and. Move on, it's been sitting there.
Way too long, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Do not have any new business. Old business, so I said we would kind of come back to this, so. Human resources, is on the select board meeting, the next one, to update the employee handbook. And they are suggesting that, we add in that sentence that had been talked about. That just says seasonal employees are exempt from overtime, and benefits. Because in the past, that's not something that we had done that. The understanding of them having access to that was always that they did not. So that's something that, HR was asking for you guys to, put in essentially not a vote, but like support of that, so she can talk to them about that at, the next meeting. So
So. When is their next meeting?
I feel like they
They
just,
met this week.
yeah, had one, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday,
Yes.
so it'll be 2 weeks from now.
Is the entire overtime thing resolved now?
It is.
All completed?
Yes, so I should say yes, and Kim will be sending out the checks. Did she say, I think it was like December 15th was the earliest that she can do that, so Treasury's writing a letter and they'll send those those checks and the letters out, but she and I have gone through everything and just verified all of those pieces of it. So, yeah.
I'm wondering if the select board is having a meeting on the 22nd.
Yeah, that seems interesting.
Of December.
Do you think they would do one like next month? Maybe? That's pretty quick.
What, no, well, they have a bunch,
Sometimes.
they have, the budget stuff is coming up, so I don't know what the schedule is.
Something here. Let's see if I can. But this was the last meeting we would have before she would go speak with them.
They do a meeting on Tuesday, okay. Good, so it'll be them. All right,
And being exempt from overtime does not mean they're not getting paid for their hours. I just want to be clear, they are. It's just the like time and a half is
but if-
typically seasonal staff do not get time and a half for benefits, essentially. They get OPEB, which is like, I'm trying to remember,
it's a retirement account.
it's like a retirement account, yeah, so it's kind of odd. Because they're required to have that, so they do get that, but at the end of the season, they can actually request that money back. So, and we usually tell them to do so because then there's like fees associated for
Right.
keeping the money in there, so anyway.
It goes to find my MS money after a while, because my son finally got the money back. Well, he didn't know it was there.
I know,
Right,
yeah,
So,
we do, we tell them, take it out, take it out.
Unless they're back year over year, we'll build, it, but
Yeah.
it is not the best
No.
plan, but
Yeah, especially with young people,
for young people. Right?
Yes.
So for our seasonal employees, is there a time period that they typically are working each week? Yeah, what is that?
So we try to keep everybody 40 hours or under, and there's some that only do 20 hours. So typically they're within those timeframes.
So if you're saying if somebody did anything
41.
more than 40 hours,
Mhm.
they would get their normal pay.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, not time and a half.
And there obviously was confusion because that
Correct.
wasn't outlined appropriately. Okay.
That's correct.
You can.
FLSA?
Yep. Seasonals, it's permitted.
At least that's how it was interpreted. So
Yeah, no, and there are,
Caveats?
there are caveats, but yes, it is permissible. So that, I mean, that is a question, that has been historically the practice. Do we want to continue, at least attempt to continue that practice? Do we want to plan to pay overtime? And that means probably a little more budget and a little more tracking and balancing and.
well, it's gonna mean fees are gonna have to go up. They've already gone up 8%, so.
Right.
Yeah.
how, how often are they going over 40? Or how often did they go over 40 years?
So that's a great question. I would say for, let's say, the camp directors, it commonly happens, like if there's an issue, let's say that they're getting back late for a field trip, right? And they're usually there to like open and close the camp, things like that. So that can commonly happen. I would say at the beach, that usually never happens. But it would mostly be PFT or, again, teen adventures, maybe, again, if we had late programs. Yeah, if there was some reason they were coming back late. But, it's not a whole lot, but it does happen from time to time.
And is this something they would be advised of when they're interviewing as well, rather than just?
We already had.
Okay.
We had already been doing that, so,
Okay,
yeah, it's
this is
written
just
in all of their, offer letters.
Okay,
That's a non-exempt position, yeah.
okay,
All right,
but yeah,
that's-
maybe in that
It's
language.
exempt.
Select board meeting is December 22nd.
We have a sense that the select boards would like to see this end, or do they have a, I mean, it's hard to tell, but
I don't communicate with them, so.
It is unclear.
What are there other departments that follow this practice?
In town?
People, I would say in town, no one has seasonals the way that we do. We are,
Highway?
we're
Yeah.
pretty, yeah, highway has. They have very specific hours in which they clock in, clock out.
They probably don't have a rule. They just,
Whereas ours are like,
Yeah.
it's program based, you
Yeah,
know,
it's
it's like,
you're.
oh, hey, you
Can't have
know,
the
sorry, you guys are
camp
stuck out on a
director.
field trip, you
Yeah.
know. Just
Can't
leave
tell
from
the
the
camp
field trip
director
and we'll leave the kids
Yeah.
by themselves, you know, no, we
Right.
can't do those things.
Leave
So-
at midday on Friday.
Yeah, no. If we knew that something like that potentially could happen, we might ask them to like shorten their hours sometime within that week. But you know, a lot of times when it does happen, it's not expected to have happened, you know.
So I guess, I mean, the other part is we are talking about reviewing the Schedule C.
And that would be looking at the wage, like the base wage.
Right,
Yeah.
but you could. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's not an expectation that there's a lot of overtime involved. So. I say you could, if you had originally. Written up Schedule C with no overtime. And, you know, looking to have it be competitive with other. Similar jobs in the area. That might pay overtime, and. You might make a little adjustment there, pay overtime. It affects the comparison to other places, but we're not expecting a lot of.
We don't, and I would say majority of camps do not, they don't do that. It's pretty common for seasonal staff. Yeah, that they don't get like time and a half. That's,
And so it's in no way violating any laws or mandates.
it has to be written in the handbook, which it was not. So for it to be clearly stated. Yep. You guys.
again, I mean, I guess I'm supportive of supporting the change with the caveat that there's not a abuse of having, I mean, if staff work a longer day, then you try to kind of let them take a few hours, flex their time a little bit.
We definitely do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so that you're not like having to work 50 hours and they get 10 hours of straight time.
No way.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. But we also end up like, even if we would say, let's say 1 week they had 42 hours. And then the next week we would say, well, hey, take 2 hours off. It still doesn't fix the situation because
No.
there was still 42 hours within that.
Yeah, you have to do it with them.
It's actually
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
That would be a worse situation because they'd be
Yeah.
counting on 40 hours.
And they would only get 38.
Penalizing them
Yeah.
for being a
Which-
good employee.
Yeah, would not want to do that. Absolutely. not.
The other question I would have is, because they are forced into this situation, they have to go into overtime. That's, you know, it's not like they're duffing around and like, I didn't get my work done, so I have, you know, stay
Right.
longer. It's like.
Yeah.
But is it because it's the Schedule C to be able to pay them time
It's
and a half?
they're a seasonal position. It's a temporary seasonal position.
Okay,
If it is a, part-time or a full-time position, then those positions, I think part-time is kind of this like weird world. It could be one or the other. But in general, let's say that you were part-time, but you worked 20 hours because you were over 19, you would be eligible for benefits and overtime. That's just kind of the
That's a different discussion that we have to have with HR.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there's two ways to look at that.
Interesting.
One is like the immediate block, the other is like a 6-month window. So there's,
Mm,
the town needs to decide how much. of
Okay.
that.
all right, but that's kind of outside of us a bit,
But
because it would be
I think it needs to be a town-wide
change.
agreement
Agreement.
of this is the way we're gonna look at
Are
it.
some people doing 6 months?
I don't,
Interesting.
yeah, so.
Okay.
We just need to make sure that we're, well, again, that would. Similarly to like, if you're counting people as seasonal, you need to look at it as in a larger time frame.
Understood.
So if somebody
I
goes
gotcha.
over 40 weeks or over 32 hours, that benefit's eligible if you're just looking at block to block.
Right.
And we need to make sure that we're
Yep.
doing that
Yeah.
properly, and I think it has to be consistent across it.
So the summer, we're talking specifically about the summer positions, and those are definitely seasonal and temporary because they're only from June through August. That's it, 3-month time frame. So
do they start the week before camp starts?
we
Get
do,
ready.
we do a training, so they do get paid for that training time as well. Yeah.
Okay.
But we do, like, when we do the paperwork with the state, we do clarify how many specific weeks that they are working. And we do, not everybody works the like to have one extended, but we just say like the camp counselors are gonna do, I think it ends up being like 14 or 13 weeks. Whereas the regular camp schedule would be 7 weeks. So even if they're not gonna work, we still put that time frame in there, and that time frame is still recorded as being seasonal.
So if you have a kid who works Camp T during the summer
Mhm.
and then continues working and does the after school, what's the after school program now?
So the after-school program now is a Schedule B. So that would be, again, if they work over 20 hours, they would be eligible for overtime and benefits. But they typically, I would say our after-school program, they're like maybe 12 hours a week.
But if they go from a seasonal employee during the summer, is there, what's the HR
Right.
cutoff that allows payroll to make that transition?
So it's a specific job, so they would change to.
So
a
you have to
different
change the
title.
job code or
We do,
do something
yeah,
so that you
so
don't.
We have to red slip everybody or
okay.
pink slip, sorry.
Alright.
Pink slip everyone,
Got
just technically not, firing people. But that removes them out of payroll and that specific
Yep.
position, and then we bring them back on as.
So it's not like it can get lost in translation.
They're
Because then
considered
the same thing
different
could
things.
be like ski club.
Yeah.
Sense of the board. Rob, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, this is. If you've been paying them,
We've not,
you've not been paying
no,
them.
we've not been paying.
I'd argue this is how young people learn. And these are young people that we're talking about, correct?
Yep.
Did you see?
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Compared to everybody in this room, yes.
Well, no, I'm just saying, these are some of their first learning experiences with regard to being employed by a legitimate employer, not cutting grass and shoveling snow, that sort of thing. To me, these are learning lessons, like, and I'm now grateful there's going to be a public input session on the 14th. If you approve this, and I'm for you saying thank you, but no thank you. These are building blocks, and I think I've heard it in the past, you've got difficulty finding people to do these jobs, like lifeguards is my specific reference.
But that's mostly training.
Okay.
It's not paid. Yeah.
Okay, so, but it's an experience, and a lot of these kids, I suspect, are coming from Littleton. I know a number of them are. I want to be proud of what Littleton's doing with our young kids on our payroll. I wouldn't be proud of this. Like, if this goes forward and you do what you want to do, but I'll be arguing, I don't know how many minutes I'm gonna get at this public hearing on the 14th. But I'll be saying, town, you should find your money somewhere else. I'm not for this. To me, people should start off with the understanding laws exist. There might be permissiveness with regard to FLSA on this for seasonal employees, but this just rubs me the wrong way. And this is why I got a lot of trouble with my employers throughout my career. Because I took position stands that didn't smell right to me. I opposed them.
So to clarify, you're not opposed to this language, you're opposed to the reason that we're having this conversation, that they should be paid overtime for
I
the.
think they should be paid overtime.
I would
So I
agree.
think I'm
But it seems like a
opposed.
town issue.
I think I'm opposed to both.
It. It is not largely a town issue because of the department this affects.
In the state system, short-term seasonal employees don't get overtime. We cap them at their 40 hours, but they don't get overtime.
I was gonna say, I have a feeling this is probably the way that camps work. Like,
It does.
that doesn't mean I feel, especially because a ton of them are my children's friends.
Right.
And if they came to me and said, I'd be surprised to hear that they weren't getting paid time and a half. I understand it. It's it's just like when you work for tips, you make $3 an hour or whatever it is now. It's probably $14 an hour now, but you know it going in.
I think in Masters 6.
Right. So, right, but you know that going in.
Right.
So I'm conflicted because I'm sure that they all read it and they sign that says they're not getting paid overtime, but I'm wondering how many of them, when they get their first check and they've worked overtime, that they're surprised they didn't get time enough. But doesn't. So I'm conflicted.
I'm not
doesn't help.
surprised. I'm not surprised about the benefits, because that makes
Yeah, that makes-
100%. But the overtime, it seems surprising.
I was surprised when I found out. Because I think, like many people, I just assumed that there is no exemption for that. If you work overtime, you get time and a half.
Right. Everyone's a different beast.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think it is, private camps can do the same thing, I believe. For seasonals, I think.
I've never
As a
done payroll on private camp, so I
poking
don't know.
around all these things, but there were, the seasonal exemption, I think, did extend this amount. You can get it if you, anyway. I think, maybe, I don't know. But, yeah, I similarly have mixed feelings about this.
Well, then I can just tell her that,
I mean, so
I have mixed feelings.
I will,
Yeah.
I will say that if we don't ask for this, it's not going to happen. That I'm quite certain.
Yep.
So if we want this optionality, we have to ask for it. We may not get it anyway, but
Not get the paid time and a half.
no,
not get this
not
exemption.
get the exemption.
Good.
There may not be support on the select board for the exemption, I don't know.
And then, I mean, the other option is that you're just gonna have to like keep real good track of
Oh.
working that overtime.
Or, yeah, or
Yeah,
It's really hard sometimes, but, yeah.
and just, yeah.
I mean, you're going to have this situation, it's just. It becomes an expense, it just becomes an expense, and
Yeah.
when you set the rates for the following year, you. Have to-
And short of like. Scheduling everybody for, 32 hours and so
Yeah.
they'll go over a little bit,
Right.
that's the only way you do it to avoid it is to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To really cut back on and I don't think anybody wants to do that, so, well.
The hard part that we run into specifically with camp is the before and after care.
Yep.
And usually there's like certain people that really want to do it. So we would have to limit.
Yeah.
How many they can do.
Yep.
But on the flip side, if they knew they were getting time and a half, maybe they might be more interested.
It'd be they'd
They'd be maybe
Even more
motivated to
more
be
motivated,
interested.
right, so that's that's
That's the unknown, right?
if they're getting time and a half, are they, are people gonna try and push for extra time? We'll have to keep them tight.
Do we have what was the total for this year that we had to pay?
I don't know for this specific year, because we ended up doing 3 years.
What? About
Somebody
the
might
total
know.
for 3 years on an average? What we're
Mhm.
talking about?
I don't wanna say numbers publicly, because I'm not 100% sure.
I would say it's not. Debilitating,
It was not debilitating, yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
I think we don't wanna see more of it. If
No.
people are going for extra, if they see the extra money, then.
Right. I mean, the problem that I am concerned about as the director is that there's so many other entities that keep asking for money, and money is being taken away. And that means that gets reflected back onto the customer. And our mission statement is to keep the program costs as low as we possibly can. And when we start having to add in all these other components, we're gonna get to a place where we're not competitive anymore. And, that will drastically affect the numbers of people that come. So it's a very difficult place to be in, to try to figure out, we love our staff, we want to do the right things by them. But at the end of the day, in general, as it has been for a very long time, that seasonal employees are exempt from those things.
And that is under the guidance of select board or state or both.
So you file with the state and they are listed as a seasonal employee, and a seasonal employee is then, it essentially says that if you are listed as a seasonal employee, you are not eligible for the overtime, right? Like I said, if you got paid 41 hours, we're gonna pay you for 41 hours. But you wouldn't get time and a half, and you're not eligible for benefits. So we also do a process where we have to put in, it's another state process where they are also exempt from unemployment. So if they decided that they were just gonna like peace out, or they got fired on, the second week there, they can't file for unemployment because it's a seasonal position, it's not a full-time position. So those are very standard practices that.
Does that need to be in the handbook too? Like, I don't know how much all this needs to be.
No,
explicit.
there's
this is where it gets frustrating, because it's like some things, it's like, it's okay, then it's not okay, and
Yeah.
Are
There's
they
just
each,
been-
are those independent?
Yes,
So you can pay time and a half without having to take away the ability to file from them.
so I think
they are
there,
separate things, yes.
yeah, there are multiple places that things get filed and the understanding basically was that the language in the existing handbook does not allow for the exemption from overtime that is permissible under all the other under state and federal regulations, but the handbook had been rephrased in a way that prevented that from applying. So that's the reason to look at the handbook again.
But that's the town one, that's
This is a
not,
town.
yeah, that's not like from off.
No.
Yeah.
Uh, So this came a little out of, a number of us have talked about this previously, but I don't know that everybody has seen this before.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, you can just say, no, we're not gonna do that, that's fine.
yeah, well, so I'm also wondering if we want to ask that the handbook be changed, but then we come back, although we're at the point we need to make the budget for Kempty anyway, so. I don't know, what's the,
I guess, similar to what I said earlier, I'm not a huge fan of this, but I'll support this again with the caveat that we are very careful about, not,
Yeah,
taking advantage of, summer seasonal staff.
So I would say that I'm very surprised if somebody's 40 hours, if you're hourly and you're working more than 40 hours a week, you're not getting time and a half. I will say that on the record. I will say that if we're not changing that, then we have to have this sentence in there because it has to be explicit. And I get that you said that they signed the paperwork, but if you go back and someone does look at their employee handbook, at least they have a chance to see it again. I don't think this is a good policy in general, but if that's what it is, we have to be very clear about it. And so it has to be in the handbook, in my opinion.
well, so. Yes, if we're going to do it, it has to be in the handbook. There's no question there. I think the question is, do we want to ask for this to be put into the handbook, or do we want to keep this as a opportunity for the department? If the answer to that is no, then can table this and move on. And I hear sort of halfway from Pete, no from you. I mean,
In terms of not paying them more, or in terms of no to what? My
No,
no is.
your no is to not paying them overtime.
No, mine, yeah, I'm opposed to us not paying them
Okay.
overtime. Like, I think that's not a good thing. I understand you're saying that's hard to track and it cuts into the money we're making and all that jazz. If it was my child, I would be shocked that they weren't making time and a half. And I would almost encourage them to look elsewhere, to be honest.
Interesting.
thinking that they're being taken advantage of. But if it's our town policy, then we just have to be very clear so that no one is falsely led.
And this, it's like, I don't want, I kind of feel like I'm a villain here. It is something that like, this is from the state level, it's not.
Yeah, like I said,
So
state,
it just needs. to be
short-term
very
state
clear.
employees don't get
Yeah.
overtime.
Yeah.
To it, yes, right, this is probably more common than not.
Yeah,
I
it
should
just
say.
needs to be very clear.
They don't get overtime, they don't get benefits from the state system.
But it doesn't mean I'm
So,
right.
yeah, no, I, like I said,
So I guess I would, if this is. And I get from a financial perspective, like this has to be like. And we can't, and unfortunately, we don't have a number to quantify it, right? Because we don't know what the impact was last year, so we can't take a guess of what it would be next year, right? But
Well,
if it's de minimis,
That's the challenge.
if it's de minimis, we should do it. Right? If it's de minimis and you're doing the right thing, and then it eliminates the discussion that anybody could have that says, I'm surprised by this. If you're surprised by it, then it probably, right, doesn't make you feel great. So if it's de minimis and we can feel better about it, then that's what I feel we should do. But not having that information, then we should at least do this and then revisit the second piece and say, next year, or at some other point, do we want to pay time back? But, and is that it?
And I can, I like Michelle brought this to me and I don't. I guess I don't understand the timing necessarily of why.
actually, we can tell her to hold
That's what I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
it's
so
there.
if you, if that makes sense, because then that way we're able to kind of look into it a little bit more to see.
Can we look at the numbers?
Well,
Or
yeah.
can we see what the
Absolutely.
numbers
Yeah,
are?
yeah, yeah. But you know, what we can do and what we can't do. It's hard when you start working with like state laws, right? And you
Yes.
can't, it's black or white, you do or you don't, and you can't just be like, okay, well, you know, sure, we'll give them time and a half, but no benefits. Like, can we do that? Can we even, I don't even know if
That's
that's.
what I would like
an
to
option.
eliminate or reduce the possibility of us stubbing our toe.
I hear you,
Yeah.
yeah,
And if
100%.
if paying time and a half reduces the ability for us to stub our toe, then that's another reason.
Okay, I'll.
Yeah, or if it
I'll-
opens up some other can of worms we're not aware of,
Right,
then
'Cause-
yeah.
all of this was just like. Something that just came up as a. You know, hey, we should look into that, by the way, hey, we're doing these things now, okay.
So, yeah, I think we could. Yeah, ask her to pull that from
Okay.
this meeting and.
Yep.
Bring it up at the end of January sometime,
Okay,
after we've talked about it again.
all right.
But I would. With that in mind, I would say. Take another just quick look before you publish the. Camp T rates.
Yeah.
I would. Plan on overtime.
Okay.
For now. And include that in the rates, because
I'm just gonna, we're gonna have to be really strict about hours, is
Yeah.
honestly what it comes down to, and. I don't know if. Our. Timesheet system allows us to like block at a specific time. Cause some places will say like you cannot work anything over 40 hours, you know?
and I think, yeah, I think for the most part, you know, you're talking about half an hour, it ends up being a couple of dollars.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Not the end of the world.
So that, yeah, so that is one thing to look at, and the other is, I mean, we're consistently seeing that it's like a specific group of people that end up in this world, so. It could just be you know, we have to figure out how to amend their schedules. So,
Get some cover for half a day or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. But I would,
I'll tell her just to hold off and have a conversation.
yeah, but I would,
We'll talk about it.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, and my other question would be, is it a number of employee issues? Like, I don't know how many people are impacted. Would hiring an extra person negate this? Yeah, so all stuff that,
Yeah,
again, if you had sort of a floater-ish person who could cover some hours.
we
that
did do that this
Yeah.
summer. Yeah.
Might help.
Yeah, it's, yeah,
So it's hard.
it's complicated.
Yep, no, I
There's
guess,
certain positions you can't have a
Right.
floater for, right?
I can add on to the request, so just what the costs were this year, or even for the 3 years, if
Yep.
they're all lumped in.
Yep.
And then how many people did it affect this year?
Mhm. Okay.
but I guess, yeah, I would say reading the room and tell me if I'm wrong, but the general sense is that unless there's a really,
Yeah.
really good reason not to, rather pay overtime, but not.
I hear you. Okay, I will talk to Michelle. Anything else?
Just about meeting times. Do we like,
Yes.
now that we've gone 3 hours plus, do we like the 6?
Six,
Do
yeah.
we like the 6 or the 6:30? We're going.
But my late arrival notwithstanding, I could normally do something.
Same.
Yeah,
I was just surprised it was 6. I mean, I can
Right.
schedule accordingly, but it was a good thing you said today, because late this afternoon, when I opened my email, I went, oh, I gotta get up from my desk now.
oh, I put it in the subject to like. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, do that, but, you know.
Like everyone else, I'll say I skimmed it. It wasn't in my handbook.
Cheaty, you're cheating.
Do we get overtime for this?
Right.
I know.
Oh,
Oh, snap, your salary.
Yeah,
So let's try and start at 6 and hopefully we can finish in less than 3 hours,
Yeah,
normal basis, but
we had a lot to do.
we did have talked about a lot. Yeah, so let's say changing to 6 for the future. Okay.
just gonna throw that up there.
Woo!
We had a very cute little Thanksgiving dinner with our preschool kids. It was very adorable. They did all kinds of crafts and had a grand time. And we also have, the real Santa coming to practice preschool, and do some cookie decorating tomorrow. So that will be very exciting.
Wait.
We love
Tomorrow's
Santa.
not 17.
Well, sorry, next week.
Next week. You have more time to sign up.
You do have more time to sign up, so if you want to sign up with Santa and cookie decorating. I do love Santa, he's a wonderful man.
He's wonderful, yes,
Wonderful.
absolutely.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
And with that-
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Moving and seconded.
all right.
Aye.
Aye, we're out. Thank you, Littleton. Have a good night.